Here at Fenex. Hope everybody's well. Lee, how are you?
You know what, Jason? I'm absolutely fantastic.
Good.
Sun, sun shining in Portugal. It's been 23 degrees this week, pretty
Yeah, well, we're
much.
not bothered about that. So,
I'm happy.
good, good. And for people watching, we're on Facebook and YouTube. We have a special guest joining us for a good drink and a chinwag. This is Rhys, the brains behind Lecker and On-Site 7, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. So thanks for joining us, Rhys.
No problem at all. Thanks for the invite.
No, it's absolutely fine. Have you got
Yes,
beer to hand?
good evening, Rhys.
I certainly have. Cheers, everybody.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Right, let me just going to bob this on social media channels, guys, so everybody knows what's going on. Yeah, we're getting the viewers on now, so... Oh, let's put that on mute. There we go. Right, so let me just put this on the socials.
Yeah, I'm going to start sharing it as well. Just wait for a few people to join us. So, how's things, Rhys? Have everything well your end?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Lee. Very successful week.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, across all the businesses, been quite rewarding, and nothing untoward, nothing hitting the fan, which is always good, It's been it's been a tough week, but yeah, definitely rewarding.
What's been the most rewarding part?
Numbers, I think, and the fact that just no customer issues, the general sort of thing, really. Rewarding from the inquiries inbound across all the businesses, I suppose. And the sales numbers are fantastic. Yeah, it's definitely buoyant at the moment.
Just for people who don't know, may not have met you, Rhys, you've got you wear many, like us, you wear many hats. I mean, do you just want to explain? You're obviously involved with Lecker and On-Site, but you have other ventures as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, bit of a bio and a bit of a history about myself, I suppose. I had the displeasure of buying a double glazing installation business about 11 and a half years ago, which definitely took me through the ropes, my first kind of formal business ownership. And that went from strength to strength. We ended up doubling the turnover. So I felt all the pain points that installers feel on a day-to-day basis, talk from the heart as well as the head when I do speak to people. There's kind of that was kind of my introduction into the fenestration industry at the time. But I think speaking to a lot of people who were in the game at the time before I bought the business, they said a lot of them fell into the industry and you just cannot fall out of it. People try and you always end up coming back. But I have to say, joining the industry, I've never looked back. I like the people in it. I've met a lot of great characters across the UK, first-class businesses. Some really good, strong, ethical business owners, and you bounce off each other all the time. So, yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. Moved into the conservatory roof market then when we set Lecker up. Obviously, that's moved into other things now as well. We've got fabrication networks across the UK, which is great. Good, strong, ethical businesses as well, and good believers in the product. So we've done training, which we still do now. So we've got a training centre, which we do online courses as well as offline, and On-Site 7 as well from the software perspective. So it's all fenestration and trade based.
The on-site stuff is the most exciting. I mean, we'll talk about this later, and we'll go into it a bit more detail. But the on-site stuff, as you know, Rhys, we're beginning to implement that at our place. It's the nuts. Like I say, we'll delve deeper into that in a few minutes. But that is the most exciting thing for me. I mean, I'm a nerd anyway. I like my tech and I like my software. But yeah, that is going to solve so many problems. Michael's here in the comments. Good evening, Michael. How are you? We are going to cover a range of subjects this evening, as we normally do. It's not all about windows and doors on here. We usually talk sport, talk about music. Lee tells some bad jokes.
Oh God, I've got to find some jokes. It's a while since I think some jokes. I've got some bad ones tonight.
We haven't done this, so we took a break last time. We should have done one a couple of weeks ago, but to be honest, we were knackered. Everybody is running on 1,000% at the minute, and sometimes you've got to take a break. Michael's saying need to increase the gain on my mic. Is that better? Tell us in the comments. We took a break, so this is the first one in a month, I think, Lee, isn't it?
Yeah, probably a month ago we last did it.
I feel like a lot's happened since then. I feel like a lot happens in a week at the minute, never mind a month.
We're starting to get people. Usually, Rhys, just so you know, because I know it's the first time you've been on with us on one of these. We just wait probably around 10 minutes before we get deep into anything, because just give people a bit of a chance to join.
Absolutely.
People in. So, but yeah, no, it's been a while, hasn't it, Jason? It's there is a hell of a lot that's happened since we were last speaking, both in the industry and outside.
Yes, absolutely. Harry and Meghan did an interview.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that went well.
Yes, not really. I think
when we speak about sport later, we're going to have to. We've not, believe it or not, we've just been talking off air before we started. I don't think we've ever had a conversation about darts, but I think it's relevant. We'll tell you why later, because we've got a proud man here today. But I don't think we've ever. I can't believe we've not brought darts into it. So when we talk sport later, just remind us.
Listen, more importantly, from a sport point of view, Wales have got a chance for a Grand Slam tomorrow.
Yes.
8 o'clock tomorrow night. Tune in, everybody. That's going to be a game.
Who are you playing?
France.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
That's not. Yeah, that's a. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I watched. Did you watch England-France last week?
Part of it.
We only just pipped it right at the end. France is going to be tough. They've turned up this year of France.
Ones that have surprised everybody is Scotland. Scotland have done incredibly well. Very, very strong team. They gave England a hell of a good game, and they gave us a hell of a good game. They really came out to win. It's a different Scotland that we've seen.
It is a different Scotland, and you just feel like if they get one or two results go their way in future, they will win the tournament. They don't lose games like they used to. Like Scotland used to be like Italy. It would be a case of how much can you put past Scotland, and it's very much not the case anymore. They are contenders in every game.
Listen, more importantly, from a sport point of view, Wales have got a chance for a Grand Slam tomorrow.
Oh.
Yes, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Tune in, everybody.
Oh, there we go. That's off. So France. I watched.
Oh, my fault. Sorry.
Was that you, Lee?
It was.
Man, you've been doing this for a year. You know what you're doing.
I'm opening Facebook and comments, and then it wasn't on mute, so apologies.
All right. Well, it sounds like my mic's been turned up properly again, so that's fine. No, to be honest, I hope Wales do it. They've played the best. They've played the most consistent. I've not been happy with how England have played, but Wales deserve it. But France is not going to roll over. They're wounded from last week. They're going to want to bounce back. And I always like watching France play anyway. They've got this flamboyant, type of rugby. They've got a bit of flair, a bit of creativity. But no, it's all good. I don't know who are England playing tomorrow. Is it Ireland? I feel like it's Ireland.
Not sure.
And then one of the games has been put off because I think it's at 26th of March. Is it till next week? Because I think there's been COVID. They found some COVID in one of the camps. So I think I can't remember what last game is. It might be a Scotland game that's been called off.
Well, France was nearly called off. I think 2/3 of the players had COVID, didn't they?
Yeah, what were they doing?
Out on the town. They were having a game, leaving the changing rooms and going out in the local villages.
So they were going out.
They were going out, apparently, yeah.
What?
Yeah. So they nearly got axed altogether.
Well,
so
say, I mean, look, France has just gone back into lockdown because it's going out of control there. I mean, what they're doing? It's insane.
it is insane.
But there we go. There's been some comments on YouTube. So we've got a few watchers on Facebook. We've got a lot more on YouTube. Paul Ogden's here. Good evening. Michael's here. McDermott Winders are here. God, Michael Hagan is up at 5:30 every morning and in work for 7. That sounds like a long day.
That's commitment.
That is commitment. He runs a good business, does Michael?
So that's proper commitment.
But I know there's a lot of people running on. We're all burnt out. I think a lot of people. I'm running a poll on DGB at the minute about burnout, and 75% say they are experiencing fatigue and burnout at the minute. So, whilst it's very good, we're all getting lots of business in. We just have to keep a mind on our mind and body. You've got to look after that as well.
Yeah, you can't dice with your health, unfortunately. But I think coming up to the second lockdown last year, or actually out of the first into the second, when the industry just went just incredibly busy, and everyone was just churning on fumes right the way up until Christmas. I don't know about you guys, but I needed a break at Christmas. I needed that 2 weeks off just to recharge, and I think everyone's getting back to that right now. It's 3 months in, mind. And it's hard to actually believe that it's nearly a year ago to the week that I remember sitting in a board meeting, actually, about 2 weeks before, just having a laugh and a joke about COVID, and it's never going to hit us. And then within 6 days of that meeting, the whole country went into lockdown.
I remember it escalated so quickly. I mean, do you remember in January when the biggest issue we had with COVID is when we were running out of window hardware from China because China had locked down and we were running out of hardware?
Yeah.
That was the extent of the problem to us at that point in time. But I remember me and Lee having conversations and we both agreed, we both said at the time, we said, this could be really serious.
Well, we caught it quite early because of the hardware side. I mean, Jason's got links and I'm sure a lot of other people in the industry are, but my background in the past has been working with locksmiths. So as soon as we knew, obviously there's a lot of hardware coming from China. So we caught this news quite early, and we were talking way back in December and January, weren't we, about what was happening?
Well, I said to you, Lee, I said it was around New Year's, very late December, when this started to become a story. And I said to you, Lee, I said, this has the potential here to be pretty bad. And I was saying this to my mates at the time, and they're all like, nah, it's fine. And it got to February, and I said to my mate in February, I said, this could be the last time we're sat in a pub. And he goes, nah, it won't be that bad. And that was the last time I was in a pub.
That's it, yeah.
I think we need to touch on this a little bit more later on, I think, because I want to discuss some topics outside the industry, and this is one of them. How big is this in history? How big an event is this? Is this one of the biggest things we'll ever? Probably one of the biggest events in our lifetime. Generation. But is it one of the biggest things in history? Because that's shutting the world. It's pretty much stopped the world, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
It's stopped every single part of the world. Yeah.
The only comparison, and you can't, and in some ways it is an equal comparison, in some ways it's not, is the Spanish flu of 1918. But that came on the back of the end of World War I. So that the world was crippled anyway through conflict, and healthcare was nowhere near what it was now. But the world didn't shut down quite as much back then as it did now. I mean, they had what's called stay-at-home orders, but they only did it once. I mean, I did some research into this. It only lasted about 6 to 7 weeks, and everybody gave up in the end. And that's why so many people died. Whereas this time, governments around the world have been quite rigid on the lockdowns. And I think as what Lee was saying, is this one of the biggest things to ever happen in human history? From a disruption point of view, yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely.
I don't want to go. We're going to save this.
We'll bottle that for later.
We need to get deeper into this, and I don't want to take over. But before we get to, because we've got the pleasure. I know there's a few more people on when we first introduce you, Rhys. We want to introduce Rhys properly because there's quite a few on now. We've got a guest that we're really looking forward to speaking to today, Rhys. Welcome, Rhys. By the way, to anyone who wasn't listening. Obviously, Rhys is the MD of Lecker and Onsite 7. So we're going to be speaking to Rhys about his companies and what you're up to, Rhys, because there's a lot obviously going on with you guys at the minute in different forms. But before we do that, I've got to get my catchphrase out. Yeah. I've got Nick for a month.
What's everybody drinking
tonight? give us a rundown. What we're drinking. What you got, Rhys? What you on?
I'm on Peroni.
Peroni, can't fault you. Brilliant.
What have I got?
Jason, what are you drinking?
So I'm on a 5 a.m. Saint, but we were just talking beer before we came on air. I have an 8.2 can in the fridge, which I may or may not get out.
Insane.
So I have an explicit emphasis by Wild Child. This is not sponsored. This is just what I've got. I've got Star Wars beer, Stormtrooper, and I've got a Bad Co American IPA. So
I'm sure you're blagging these freebies and really getting sponsored. I'm sure you are. You do this every week.
No, I just can't control myself when I go into a supermarket. So
anybody else, drop us a comment. Let us know whether you're drinking tea, whether you're having a night off, or whether you're having a beer with us, or a show,
I think there's quite a few people drinking.
Bubbles.
I think everybody deserves a drink after these last few weeks. I think everybody deserves a good sup. McDermott's got a 16-year-old apprentice starting on Monday. Whoa.
Well, that's one of the topics I want to speak about later on, is the skills gap.
He's starting on the... Steve, I think, at McDermott's was on the beer last night and he's put a sick emoji, so he was probably hungover this morning.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, should we get to some nitty gritty then? Because I think we've got some brilliant stuff to talk to Rhys about.
Yes.
And I think we need to start looking at and asking Rhys all about his product. And I think we'll start talking about the conservatory roof side.
Yes, absolutely. Lecker has got so it's a solid roof product, but it's got, I believe, Rhys, the best U value of all the solid roof products out there. I believe
So. Yeah, we can achieve a 0.14 U value in our roof system with various different upgrades. We've got a couple of different eco options, which basically provides a pricing point for anybody now.
Yep.
Where, originally we were perceived to be, we were probably one of the last ones into the market with a different product that people were probably a bit nervous about, I would say, not using a pultruded GRP and our system in the way that it's modeled. So yeah, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's one of those things that does everything that it says on the tin. Everyone's products will have strengths to them without a doubt, and we believe in ours as much as other people believe in his. So yeah, we're quite happy with it.
Do you know, that's quite and me and Lee like this. I mean, you take an honest approach there, and what you've just said there, you don't get from anyone else. The industry is very much trash talk about everybody else, and ours is better than that. That's a refreshing perspective to have.
Very much so.
It's so, kudos to you, because much of the industry is not minded that way.
Thank you.
How are you find? I mean, it's probably an obvious question, but I assume you're selling lots.
Yeah, selling absolutely loads. Yeah. I mean, again, nearly to the week last year, no one knew if they were even going back to work that year, because nothing was announced, no timescales. I had phone calls within the first 8 weeks saying, right, Rhys, we're going back to work. I think a lot of the industry forced themselves back in, the factories, and said, well, hang on a minute, no one's going to give us these dates to come back to work, so we're going to do it ourselves. And one by one, different factories set up and went back to work. And then all of a sudden, I don't think I've ever worked so hard in my life. It was great. It was rewarding. It was tiresome days, but we had 2 record months last year, and we had a record year in revenue, which is brilliant. You know.
Can you believe that? Can you? I remember in April and March, all of us were thinking there's going to be nothing to come back to. Because in normal times, when you hit a crisis, the general rule of things is people clamp down, they don't spend money, things go quiet.
Yeah.
That is exactly the opposite of what happened.
Definitely, yeah.
And I don't think any one of us could have even guessed at the amount of demand. And think about this as well, your solid roofs will be going into your garden rooms, your new home offices, your new entertaining spaces, because people have got used to drinking at home.
Yeah.
So I assume a lot of lacquer roofs are going into spaces like that right now.
Yeah, they are indeed. Yeah, people have adapted them. I think just to quickly jump back, I suppose, to the lockdown. It was one of my business partners said at the time, when was the last time you ever had and I think everyone hopefully will agree with this. It doesn't matter what industry you're in and what sector you're in. Whether you're an installer or a fabricator, when was the last time you actually had the ability to put your business on stop, no money coming in, no money going out, and just review it and make the changes? I think everyone's become more resilient. They're better for it. Your fingers on the pulse, and it was great. Here we are now having a Zoom meeting on a Friday night. Never even heard of Zoom last year, and I get more done now, which out on my working day, than I ever did, because I traveled around quite a lot, which is good and bad, But in terms of the solid roof aspect, I had so many people ring me about garden rooms saying, look, because we've obviously got 3 products within our suite, which is the solid roof, the orangery flat roof kit, and the Lecker XI, which we launched 2 years ago, which is the modular building, which can be used as a freestanding. And the amount of people who I had calls off saying, I'm setting up a factory to do this, I'm setting up a separate business to do these, was phenomenal. And even our own immediate customers adapted the system. They put cedar clad on, they put all sorts of stuff on the outside and created some amazing spaces. It's been quite...
What you just said there about having that time to pause. Lee, do you remember we had a conversation about that right at the beginning?
Yeah.
And we said that we're never going to get such a good opportunity again to have such a prolonged period of time to assess what we do.
Yeah. We were actually talking about the people who were being proactive in that time and the people who were treating it as an holiday, because there were some people in business and any sort of line of work that were treating it as kind of, I've got some time off, I can have... We discussed this in a lot of detail about how important it was and that you'd never get that chance again. Yeah, I remember very well.
It resonated with me. As soon as you said it, Rhys, I was like, we talked about that about a year ago. And do you know what? I think the companies who, as Lee's just said, who didn't take that as a holiday, who, worked instead of having 8 weeks, 9 weeks off, have come out the other side of this in a much better position, because they've been able to look at a very changed landscape. They've been able to look at changed habits.
Yeah,
they've adapted.
It's a different kind of work. It's a different kind of work. Being able to take a step back, and I'm sure we're all business owners here today. I'm sure that we'll all agree, and people will agree with us who are watching this. It's very hard when you're running a business to be able to really take a full step back and overlook at everything at once, because you're having to pick and choose and prioritise. Yeah. That gave us an opportunity. We did it. We definitely did it, where we could just absolutely step back and just reassess absolutely everything from top to bottom.
That's it. And I think, it wasn't... That has a massive impact for me. I don't know about anybody else, but the other impact as well at the time is you're not trying to think just about your business and how to keep it going. You're trying to support people who work for you, emotionally as well as financially, before any of the furlough schemes. And it's definitely made our business more resilient, and we carried on marketing right the way through. And I hand on heart can say, and I'd like to think that a lot of other people did the same. I don't think there was a second of a 7-day period of a week that I didn't work, because I refused to be one of the failures. I refused to be that person that let their go down. Was I took a 2-month break, and I think it's fantastic. And the other thing as well, from the product suites, that specifically for our own sake, I suppose, is we haven't got to go into people's homes to fit a lacquer roof.
This is it. It's external work.
It's all external work. So our sales just, excuse the pun, just went through the roof.
It's. Do you feel? I mean, there's some comments coming in about working smarter. McDermott here saying, "I hope we all have learned a few new ways of doing business, and we don't all go back to the old ways once we're out of lockdown." I don't think we will. No. But would you say you're now a smarter business because of it?
100%. Yeah. We've increased our margins because of it. And we haven't axed any staff. We haven't got rid of people. We've just become more resilient and smarter to the working ways of the digital world. I suppose we can still reach people, and even travel costs. Something simple as travel costs have saved an absolute fortune. I wouldn't think twice before lockdown, saying, where are you? Edinburgh? Right, I'll jump in the car and I'll come and see you next 24 hours. But now you can get 4 of those meetings done. And
this is a thing. It's not just the travel costs. It's the actual time you can spend having multiple meetings. And I'm the same as you, Rhys. When I've worked within several businesses within our groups, and the Fenestration Awards, Fendigital, my old company, and obviously Fenex. Usually, I would have been doing the same as you. It would have been one meet. If I was going down to London or to Scotland or even to Liverpool, it could be a full day depending on traffic.
Yeah.
That's one meeting. I can have 3, 4, 5, 6, if I'm efficient enough and people are available, 6 meetings a day. For me, that is the most invaluable thing I can even imagine. It just cuts so much. It's so efficient.
This is it. I mean, and we won't go back that way. I mean, working from home as well, the flexibility of where you work. Obviously, it's different if you're manufacturing. You can't make something at home. But people who are office-based or sales-based, I mean, we had today, there was the Mirror Publishing Group and British Airways both said that all their staff can work from home.
Really?
Everyone's assumed that once things are open, we'll all rush back to the offices. But there's a big proportion of people who have enjoyed, not everybody, but there's a big proportion of people who have enjoyed the flexibility of working from home.
Yeah.
And you look at it from a business point of view, Rhys. The businesses aren't daft. The Mirror as a group and British Airways, we're going to be looking at their office leases and going, well, we've worked well, people are fine, we don't need the office, so let's save some money.
Yeah, well, it does. But what's frightening, Jace, is I could not. If I went back to that now, I'd be thinking, how the hell did I do? How could I possibly do now or now then?
Can you imagine going up to Edinburgh now to sell lacquer roofs?
That's no way.
You'd have to take a complete day out to travel. Then you potentially a day, with whoever the client, whoever you're seeing. You may go out for a meal or something to drink, and then it'll take you a day to get back. So that's 3 days for one meeting.
Absolutely. We were
You're not going to do that again, are you?
What's bonkers is we were in Newcastle the other day, first night away I've had for 4 or 5 months, and unless the pubs and restaurants get back to any sort of normality, it's not even enjoyable anymore. You could go maybe sit down, have a beer, open your laptop, get some work done. I walked into this hotel. It was like walking into a funeral parlour. There was absolutely no one there other than the person on reception, and room service. Nothing's open. Nothing. It's just like staying in a homeless shelter.
The other thing is when we're all this busy, do we have the time to take 2 and 3 days out for a meeting?
No.
We don't, because time is so, other than product, time is the most precious commodity right now.
Oh yes, without a doubt.
Mark in the comments, Mark Hickok saying, salespeople desperate to go back to the old way. Why? I mean, this is there is so much business being done. I'm not being arrogant here. You don't even have to try. People have got the money. People are buying no matter what. You don't need to go back to the old way because people are buying regardless. So why would you want to go back to the old way of selling?
I want to move subject a little bit here, and I want to rewind it back. And I've got a question for you, Rhys. And this is, you'll have to bear with me because you probably don't know this, but I've been in this industry only in marketing and sales, so I'm more of a consumer kind of viewpoint from this. But going back to the conservatories in your olden days, and I guess this is a leading question to
olden days.
What made you olden days? Yeah, it sounds the olden days. Way back when.
Back when everything was sepia.
What made you look at setting up the company for the roof side? Because I mean, from what I can remember and talking to other companies that do similar sort of products, and this is what's put me off having conservatories, and I've never had a conservatory in my houses, is when it's hot, it's too hot, and when it's cold, it's too cold. That's what used to put me off. I'm guessing that's one of the reasons that you looked at doing what you did.
Yeah, partly. And being transparent, as I always am, with the installation business, about 8 years ago, we had an inquiry off a homeowner, sent me a YouTube link, and it was a solid roof company, solid roof system. The question was, do you do these? Being the obvious salesperson at the time, yeah, of course we do them. So went out, quoted it, did a lot of Google research. We fitted 2 or 3 of that product at the time, and my chief install manager basically said to me, don't ever sell one of those again, because number one, we're not going to fit it. We don't like it. It's got these problems, and it's taken us a week. And I was like, right, okay. And then when I actually looked back at the numbers, I thought, hang on a minute, I've had a team on this job 5 days, and they hate it. Okay, I'm not going to bother doing it. And that person actually became a good friend and a current business partner at the same time. And he, as good ideas happen over a beer in a random pub in the middle of nowhere, why don't we start doing these solid roofs, Because we were still getting the odd inquiry. It was nowhere near like it is now, see, in terms of saturation. Homeowners didn't even know about them. So I said, right, okay, let's have a look at it. Research the obvious ones like aluminium, timber, and I thought, well, if we're going to put any serious money into this, we're going to end up with something we're just going to compete like for like. So and that was the start of the journey, really, from a conversation to pretty much knocking something up in a garage to start off with, and just testing material products, and then went to because we were going to manufacture and actually install it ourselves. That was kind of the vision. But when we nailed it, and we had a lot of outside parties involved with design aspects, we thought, hang on a minute, we've actually got something here that maybe someone else would benefit from. Yeah. And it stemmed right the way through. I've always believed in ethical sales and being transparent. You can only be someone's friend as long as they want to be friendly to you, right? And treat someone as they want to be treated. And it stemmed right the way through the company. So all of these roofs, generally, depending on the tile finish, they all look the same when they're finished. Everything that we've ever done, whether it's training software, solid roofs, flat roofs, has always been with the installer at heart and the first person in the chain. The fabricator gets the benefits, it's faster to manufacture. They get the multiple other benefits, but from the installer side, you want the actual installers themselves saying, can't wait for the next one. That was great. I love it. You want all the USP factors that the salesperson can promote and find it a lot easier to sell because it's unique, and all the other stuff that goes with it. And we've always the homeowner and the end customer pays everyone's bills eventually. But if you don't look after that first person in the chain, then the rest of it's history. So that's pretty much where we've come from, and where the roof king was born from, and why we actually did it.
I think, Rhys, the key is the fitters. You know as well as I do, if the fitters are happy, everybody else is happy.
Absolutely.
Because they're the ones who are having to do the work, but also the most vocal if they don't like it. So if the fitters like it, then you're on to a winner. And obviously you've been doing very well ever since. And I've got to be honest, I can't see demand dropping anytime soon. Not least until at least September, when maybe furlough ends and the landscape of the economy changes again. But we've got at least, I would reckon, another 6 months of this insane demand. So we need to get some sleep.
We do.
Otherwise,
it helps.
Otherwise, going back in the comments, McDermott Winders was saying, everyone's burnt out. We'll keep. He says, we'll keep continuing. Yeah, we'll all keep going. We'll just look like zombies come August. We'll all be.
It'll level out. And the only thing I would say to everyone is, I think we all need to be incredibly grateful that we're still working, and we're in probably one of the strongest industries in the UK at the moment. So. Hats off to everyone out there who is putting the hours in. Yeah,
but it has to be said. And me and Lee have talked about this in previous streams. We have found ourselves incredibly lucky to be in one of the few niches that has been able to remain open and the public be able to spend their money with, because most other avenues of spend are shut at the moment. Yeah. But anything to do with home improvement and gardens and those businesses have skyrocketed. So we are lucky. You look at everybody else in hospitality, in travel, in entertainment, in sport. There's no fans in stadiums still, remember?
Thank God for my football team.
Who do you support?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Dark times, Rhys. Dark times. We've got the worst thing is we're on the worst run of form. We've got, oh God, I daren't even talk about it. If Mick from GQA is watching this, he'll be laughing because it's the first time he'll be looking forward to playing us tomorrow. Sheffield Wednesday play Barnsley tomorrow.
Right.
South Yorkshire derby, and usually when it comes to these derbies, we win every game.
You're not tomorrow.
No chance. Barnsley are playing exceptionally well and beating everybody, and I don't think we've won a game in like 20 years. It really is that bad.
It ain't gonna happen. Just wipe it away, mate. It ain't gonna happen. Listen, Rhys scored. Was it yesterday? His third 180.
180 on the dart.
Oh yeah, darts. Yeah, the darts.
Yeah,
the dart
absolutely delighted. I've had a good week. The best week in a long time, just for various things, as I mentioned earlier. And hitting that 180.
That's your highlight, mate. That's your highlight, Rhys. That's the best point.
Yeah, I know. It was good, yeah.
It's,
well.
I need to get my dartboard up, so we need to do the garage. We've got the garden out there is getting landscaped in April, and then I'm turning the garage into a sort of a man cave kind of thing. But I've got a darts board. There's a perfect place to put it as well. I've got a bar to go in, and I need to get throwing again because I was getting quite good. I remember when I scored my first 1-8, I ran around the room like a child. Took pictures, I showed everybody, and everyone was like, "Don't really care."
That's exactly what I did last night.
Everybody's like,
"Who cares?"
Jason, before we go too deep into sport, because I want to come back. I'm going to come back to sport in a minute because I want to bring up as new feature. But I think Callum's asked a question on YouTube.
What made you decide and settle on the Marmux boards? Somebody with a plumbing background? I think is that a question to you, Rhys?
Yeah, it's a question to me. Yeah. So the internal boards, every part of the lacquer roof had a unique function to play, and one of them was weight factor. The other one was the fact that there's no erosion, so any water penetration wouldn't actually break the product down. So the internal board, which was just mentioned then, all of those materials, including that board, can be left outside in any weather conditions. It doesn't matter if they were left in the rain for 3 months, they wouldn't actually break down because they're closed cell, which basically means they don't absorb any moisture. And the key thing with any product is if something absorbs moisture, it'll always have the option of breaking down. Also, it's a third the weight of a 12 mil plasterboard. Okay. So we didn't want to just have the best U values and the quicker system to install. We wanted to make sure that the weight factor was announced quite heavily. So every single product has a part to play in that weight. So hopefully that answers your question. But the internal board, it has other benefits as well, other than being a third the weight of a plasterboard. But also the fact that one person can install it, where if you held an 8x4 12 mil plasterboard above your head, it would generally just break and snap over your head. But with this board, you can hold it above your head, you can screw it up with one screw and a washer, and it'll hold the entire board. So it provides multiple different functionalities and benefits to the system. Yeah. So hopefully that's a question anyway.
No, that's great. And see, this is why we like to have guests. You get straight answers straight from the horse's mouth. So hopefully, Callum, that's answered your question.
Going back to the sport and the darts now. Sorry, I had to bring that question in. Going back to the darts, we were discussing this pre setting off with the podcast. Do we call these podcasts, or is it a video? What are we calling it?
Classed as podcasts, and what you can do is you can strip the audio and you can upload it to Spotify as a podcast.
I didn't know whether it were a video cast now.
I don't like that term, video cast. Podcast's a podcast.
Anyway, going back to the darts, I'm actually getting WhatsApp messages. I've got a couple of my mates watching this from outside the industry tonight because I've made the mistake of telling them. I made the mistake of telling them that I was working tonight by doing this, so they've joined, and they're laughing at me talking about darts and football, saying, "And that's the two things I know nothing about." Unbelievable.
Well, that's fair.
But to be fair, the last time the one who was laughing, Paul, we went to the darts. Like I said, we went and watched it. It is the BDC, the old style one.
There's the PDC, or there's the BDO.
What's the old one?
BDO.
BDO, that's it. I don't know.
The one on BBC where it looks like a bunch of pub players.
They're right. I know nothing about. I'm taking exception to the football. Darts, apart from going for the crack, I know nothing about darts. But it was fantastic. We went down, and they went in fancy dress. They were dressed as gorillas. They were dressed as gorillas. And we met Will. What's him from? From 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisp.
Will Mellor.
Will Mellor. We met Will. We were talking to Will Mellor. We're having a crack with him, and we met the old commentator, the Cockney guy with the big gold chain.
Oh, Barry George.
Yeah. So we were talking to him and had a bit with him. We had a beer with him. It was really good. We went down. I think we were there for 3 days. I think.
Do you know he single-handedly supports the entire gold industry?
It was a big chain. It was a big chain.
He didn't just wait. Well, he's got about 5 going on. He's got all his sovereigns on his hands, and he's got his watch, and he's got his chains around his wrist. I don't know how he walks around like this. Darts is a British thing. We were in London a few years ago, and we'd gone down for my birthday. And a bunch of green aliens just walked past us, right? Obviously, guys in fancy dress. And so Americans, I knew what they were. They were off to Ali Palif at Worlds. All Brits knew about it, but all tourists were like, "Hey," there's like 12 green aliens just casually walking through. Like everybody knows where they're off, but all Americans are like, "Going on here?" But I can never ever get tickets. My wife tries so hard to get me tickets for my birthday to go, but they sell out in seconds. The minute they go live, they just disappear. But I'd love to go to Ali Palif at Worlds.
Well, I went when I went. I'm just trying to remember who were on. There was who was on.
I don't know.
Oh, the old darts. I'm gonna ask my mate because he'll remember him. There was. I'll tell you who won. It's the guy it's some sort of. He wears the vampire cape. What they call him?
Oh God!
Really old.
I can't tell you what that is.
Oh, Adams? No. Oh God!
No, Adams is. Adams were there. Adams were there.
He switched codes. He plays in PDC now because he's got better. You know, the minute you actually can play good, you go to a better league. Like BDO is like pub level darts. Like if you watch the PDC, you get ruined. Like BDO is just crap. I don't think they exist now though. I think they've gone bust because there was no BDO World Championship this year.
I'm trying to think of the players. One was called, his nickname was Dazzler. There were.
I don't know.
Oh, what they call him?
You watch crap darts. I watch the good darts. So I don't know.
You're better off googling it.
Paul's going to tell me now, my mate. He loves that background with darts. He'll tell me in a minute. But there was
Rhys, just to.
I mean, darts were terrible, by the way, but the atmosphere were brilliant.
Look, listen. You go watch the listen. You go for a drink. There just happens to be some darts going on in the background. That's all. Callum has said, he says, thank you. The board is a really great product. Nice to see a cross-industry product.
Yeah, nice comment, thank you.
So, you know, getting good feedback there.
Take all the credit for that one.
Going back to the driving around selling the old way, Mark Hickox, I don't like driving around all day unless it's on a superbike or a supercar. It's the old guard that are resistant to change. Well, I watched a video, Lee, today from my favourite YouTuber, Ryan Serhant, and it was all about adapt or die. And he could not.
If I was tough, I'd be worried about your relationship with Ryan Serhant.
He lives in New York, mate. I think we're safe. Honestly, no, and he's right. It was 8 minutes of, you know, adapt or die. If you don't change, you don't adapt, you don't look at new ways of doing things, there's other people who are going to do it before you and you're going to die off. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And this is where I want to sort of shoehorn in On-Site 7, because I'll let Rhys explain this in more detail, but it's a workflow CRM dedicated for installers to manage your work. I'll let Rhys talk about it for a minute because he'll do a better job than I will because it's his product. But this is going to be the main thing installers should really look at when it comes to now. And obviously, you know you're going to be at Fenex in September, but this, especially in this really high demand period, installers need to be looking at this, don't they, Rhys?
Certainly do, Jace. Yeah. Again, it's come from a pain point that I wouldn't say we identified. We were just fully aware of it, and I think everyone else is going to be aware of it as well. Is as much as we all need customers, unfortunately, and progressively, customers are getting worse. So about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we just got to a point where it was, you know, customers were targeted. It felt like we were being targeted by certain customers. You know, they were drip feeding money down to like a £10,000 job down to maybe £1,000, and knowing quite willingly that you're not going to go and chase them for it, and trying to bring up all sorts of accusations about, you know, quality of product, service, and so on and so on. So we thought, well, how do we counteract that? And it was actually my lawyer who put the frighteners at me, I suppose, at the time, by saying to me, "Are you aware of the Consumer Rights Act 2015? And I said, no. And he explained to me what it was and how it affects businesses. And it's quite frightening, up to 6 years after the installation takes place, what the consumer rights are and what they do to you. And people are not fully aware of it yet, but it's being quoted a lot more now and a lot more frequently. So ultimately, what I asked him was, I said, look, you know, what's the main cause of litigation? What's the main cause of complaints and issues between customers? And generally, it's down to they're trying to convince you you've given them a poor service, a poor product that doesn't work or isn't fit for purpose, or you've delayed the timescales of the job. So I was like, right, okay. And that's ultimately where On-Site 7 was born from. So we wanted to, I'll talk a little bit more about On-Site 7 in terms of all the other stuff it does, but ultimately it was born out of the concept of we need to provide evidence. We need to prove that we've done the job in the right timescales, we've given them the right product, and it works. The service delivery and the mechanisms, all that sort of stuff works. So we come up with the idea of providing an end-to-end job management system. And we're not all tech-driven people in this industry. I speak for myself as well. If I look at something with a lazy eye and I can't use it, I won't use it. So we were very, very stringent on making a system so easy to use that software shouldn't be scary anymore, and provides you with the ability to, capture evidence on site. So every single photo at every stage, doesn't matter if you're a salesperson, you have the app, you take a photo, you could record the notes, record the attachments, gain the customer signature, survey stage, install stage, and service. So as an example, installer turns up on site, hasn't even started the job, and the customer approaches that person and says, that wall wasn't damaged before you got here. They can actually look back on the app and say, well, hang on a minute, I've got a photo 3 weeks ago, it's date and time stamped by the person who took it, and says, yes, it was there before I started work. Service calls, we've all had them, where a customer rings up 3 years down the line, said that bloody patio doesn't work since the day you've installed it. But if you've got a video that you can download from your desktop, because it's been taken on day and date, and you can send that straight to your customer and say, here we are, here's a video of it working. What do you mean? Then you are in the driving seat. It's not going to help avoid every situation, but what it will do is prevent it and put you in a position where the customer goes, oh, he's got more evidence than me on my own job. It does a lot more. Since we launched it, we've had people asking us for this and that, and we listen to all the customers, and we do put things in that will help them. So you can put all your data into the system. You can put all your customer data in, which makes it secure. Because the biggest thing with customer data is a lot of people will either be paper-based still, or they'll store their data on their local machine in the office, which is not GDPR compliant. It can be hacked and everything. We take away that pain. The job management side, we provide a full calendar system. So you can allocate a sales appointment to a salesperson, a survey to a surveyor, an install to an installer, and they all have apps on their phone where the jobs are allocated. So the whole thing, and it was a great time to launch it, to be honest, guys, because it, with lockdown, coming out of lockdown, everyone's working from home. You haven't got to go to the office to pick your jobs up. I've had loads of people ring in and say, can you ring me to talk to me about LECA or whatever it is? They ring them back. The receptionist answers the phone and says, sorry, he's working from home. Now, if you're working from home, can't really see everything that's happening in your business, where if you've got On-Site 7, you can watch a job as it's happening. In the morning, the fitter says, yeah, I've started it. They take a photo at 10 o'clock. You can see it at 10 o'clock in the office. So you can watch it. If you're quite anal, and to be honest, in my install business where I tested it, I was quite anal. I was watching the job unfold, and it was quite interesting actually.
But you do though, because this is the one thing that's frustrating me is the consumer rights laws are so heavily weighted now in favour of the consumer that there's very little you can actually do, even if the consumer has a spurious claim that is a lie, but there's nothing you can do about it because there's no protection for you as a business.
It's weird because I first came across this a long, long time ago in my repping days, and I knew this was going to become a problem in society. People trying to claim for things that were not real. And we obviously, it's a long, long time ago. I was, 23 years old, 23 to 26, I think it was when I went out. So we're talking a good nearly 20 years ago, but it were all on paper. But we used to get faxed by the head office at the time saying, there's a flight coming out, you're taking them to this hotel. So we'd know, if we were taking the coach into the hotel, we'd have a fact saying this customer has made 5 claims in the last 5 holidays. The serial claimers, they're looking for problems, keep an eye on it. So we would know. The problem is there's people who are serial offenders, and that will be whether they're having windows, doors, conservatories, or whether they're having a boiler fitted, or whether they're ordering food online, or whatever it is. There'll be serial complainers that know that they're going to get some money just by kicking off. Something like this, from a consumer point of view, for the consumers who are genuine people, they'll not be bothered about all of this happening. But I would imagine, and this is, sorry, it's a long way around about going about asking this, but I would imagine that it would also do you a favour as an installer of heading off potential issues from the serial complainers, because they're going to go, whoa, I'll not use you because I'm going to kick off. And they know that you've got it covered. So it's going to save you a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get the order.
Yeah. Well, we weren't even going to put a customer signature field on there. And we thought to ourselves, no, what we're going to do is we're going to put a signature on there on the screen. We're going to put a bit of text terminology. And then when you actually get to the screen point, that customer's already given you a 5-star rating. They know exactly what they're signing for. And if they don't sign, you know they're going to be a problem. But if they do sign, 2 days later, they say, oh, yeah, this is a bloody nightmare, this product. The installer was a nightmare. And you're thinking, hang on a minute. Why did you give that installer a 5-star rating and say that you were happy with every part of the job? And you can send them that report straight out of the system. It's so easy. And this point, and I know it's quite close to your heart as well, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely irritates me to the hilt that when people don't pay their bills, if you are bending over backwards to provide a good service,
Listen, we've had
it's
jobs.
wrong. It's morally wrong. Morally wrong.
Jobs. I mean, look,
it's mad.
It comes up all the time on social media. A scratched handle and nobody's paying. Somebody's not paying a 15 grand balance because, when it's come to the point of paying, the list comes out. The list of problems that didn't exist until you asked for payment. Oh well, this isn't right, and that ain't right, and this isn't right. It's like, well, you didn't mention this before. Or my handle's scratched, I'm not paying. Or that unit's damaged, I'm not paying. It's wrong. And it's this. Do you know what? Whoever came up with the phrase "the customer's always right" wants a slap, because that is not correct. I'm sorry, but it's not.
I agree.
There's good companies, there's bad companies, there's good customers, and there's bad customers.
Yep.
And this
Abigail from Northumberland Glass, by the way, has just commented on Facebook. She said, Rhys, that they trialled it in the early days on Site 7, and she says it'll be good to revisit, especially like easy-to-use pre-existing damage reports done at survey point. So we'll put you in touch with Abigail.
Yeah, definitely. We've started to use it at B&P. We're rolling it out next week, Rhys, by the way, to more staff members. So me and Adam have just been getting used to it. So you'll see a lot more activity. You'll see a lot more activity soon on our account. But Abigail, we want to be using it because when Rhys was giving me and Adam the demo, we were begging for something like this, not only to manage work because there's a lot on, but to give us protection. And this ticked every box. So Abigail, I would urge you to speak to Rhys because now is very much the time to be looking at stuff like this, and in fact, any installer, you want to be looking at this. We'll
link you up with that anyway.
It's not expensive for the amount that you can do with it. It's an absolute bargain. It's dead easy to use. It's app and cloud based. Even the most software allergic person. That's the one thing I said to Rhys after he gave the demo to us. He probably didn't even need to give the demo, to be honest, because it's that intuitive. We would have just figured it out. It's that simple.
It's a plug and play, and we want it to be like the Spotify's, really. You download Spotify, it's 10 minutes, and you find a way around it. In terms of, definitely, Abigail, I'll get back to you on that. That's fantastic. We launched it last year. Being a web-based software platform, like anything, even with your banking systems, when you're logging on online, there's certain things that happen, but it's a robust network. But secondly, we have listened to people as well, very, very strongly. An enormous addition going in there by the end of June in the next 2-3 months. Half of it's already done now. And that's going to have integration into accounts packages. It's going to have job reports. So but again, keeping it very, very, very easy. So you'll be able to put in your salesman's commission, your material costs, your frames, your glass, and it automatically calculates your profit and percentage on a job, and you can download it. You can filter it by your salesperson, how much that person's actually sold on a monthly basis. You install, how much profit you actually get out of that job very, very easily without having to be a computer guru. That's all it's all about. It's very powerful. It's very.
That's right on my. I love it. I love it.
John Vanstone also said, I'm reading off Facebook, so I know you're probably not on there. Digital evidence is becoming a legal requirement on certain energy schemes. Look at some of the eco work.
Right, yeah, with the Green Homes Grant system, I think, with the past 2021, you've got to have QMSs involved. You've got to take photos. It's a perfect opportunity for us to grab hold of that, to be honest, to record all your evidence. It's just a simple way. As I've come across so many people over the years just using WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
Which they still do. And it's okay if it's real time, but trying to find something 4 or 5 months ago, very, very difficult to locate those bits of information, And I don't want to say it, but I think there's a potential in the future. I can see fitters walking around with body cams potentially. You see them on these CCTV places, and you do get those irate customers. You do. And you should be able to press a button and say, "Hang on a minute, I'm going to record you," and they would back down. They would definitely.
I've got the comment feed now. It weren't working. I've got it now. I think someone shared this feed in one of the forums, Lee. So I think the viewers might jump up in a minute. But John Vanstone saying the customer is always right was started by Selfridges 100 years ago.
Was it?
They've got some serious questions to answer, that business. That bloody phrase.
Did you say we've shared it in one of the fitters forums?
No, I don't know if it was John who. Someone on Facebook.
We should be putting it in. We should be putting our links in them, by the way. But we've had another comment on YouTube from TNR in Kidderminster. Do you ever find customers feel intimidated to leave a review while the fitters are still on the property?
I suppose that depends on how the fitters go about asking. If they come up, you come up like, "Nah, then love. Give me a good review." I don't know. It depends on how you come across, doesn't it, Rhys?
It's the same as asking for money. Some fitters are asked to gain the balance. I think it's how you go about it. It's all about your preparation. Make sure the office makes the customer aware when they're booking it in. They will be asking for a completion notice at the end. Is that okay with you to sign at the end and just agree that you're happy with the job? And they'll also be asking you for payment. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And if there's any shadow of doubt, at that point, really, you should be thinking about alarm bells, But as long as the preparation is there and it's gone about in the right way, I agree. If you just finish the job, everything's on the van, customers just got out of the shower, sign this, you might want to think a bit differently.
It's not the best way, is it? I think that's where it's key that your fitters sort of develop a relationship with the homeowner while they're fitting. Because that question becomes easier to ask. If you're on a 3 or 4 day fit, you can have some good banter, you can have a good chat while you're doing your job. It's very much easier to ask that question at the end of the job if you can build up a good rapport with those people.
Yeah.
Just going back to some comments on Facebook about trickle vents. Let me find it. John Vanstone earlier on, number of arguments on trickle vents that would be saved by taking a picture of the old windows as regards to the current legislation on not making it worse.
Yeah.
What he's saying there is obviously, many will know, if new builds, extensions, you must have them. Windows that currently have them, the new windows must have them again. You take pictures, that argument goes away.
We had this, Jason, and this is so uncanny. We had this last week where a customer rang in. The installation was done 3 weeks ago, and rang us and said we had trickle events before, we should have had them back in. And we had the photos, and it's not just plugging it, but we had the photos taken on site 7, and he didn't have the trickle events.
So
honestly, yeah, honestly. I said to everyone in the team, I said, look, that is why we're doing it. You know, forget that it's our software. This is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
These bits. There we are.
I will. While we're talking about reviews, by the way, I want to kind of go a little bit deeper on this, and I want to ask everyone the views, because for me, reviews are a little bit of I can't take anybody's review seriously anymore, because there's so many people asking friends and friends of friends to leave reviews, and for me, I don't know how you get over. There's some people that say, "Oh, it's got to be verified." I'm not sure I trust the verified reviews either. For me, there's a big problem in trust, because no matter how many 5-star reviews a company's got, 3/4 of that may be friends, family, people you've left a bottle of wine for or a few beers. I'm not sure I trust this sort of stuff anyway. So how do we go about making that better? Because that's a big question for me. It's a big thing, is trust in trades. I've worked in a lot of different trades. And I think there's a lot of, you talk about, and we've talked about this a lot, Rhys. I know this is your first time on, but we've talked in several of these podcasts about bringing the reputation of the glazing industry up, because it's got a bad reputation as a glazing industry. It's not the only one, you know, cowboy builders and stuff like that. But how do industries, because I've worked in a lot of different trades in advertising, how do we sort that out? How do we really know where the good and the bad companies? Is there any solution, or is it just lost?
So, from my own personal experience, I came from a corporate background before I jumped into Windows, which is like completely different sides of the spectrum. But I was always led on testimonials. And when I first took over that installation business, I made a point of getting a physical testimonial form, handwritten, with a customer signature on it. Every single job, I would take the originals out on every sales appointment. And I built up about a pack of about 50 or 60 of these. And every sales appointment, I go, there we are, have a look at those. And they're all handwritten, all jokes aside by the customer. You know, your wife's done a great job on writing them all. But I said, no, you know, these are all factual based from customers. With the testimonial websites, they're all text driven, and we all know they can be manipulated.
Yes.
You know, I won't mention any names with those sorts of sites. However, you would only get, unless customers directed to Trustpilot, for instance, they would enter a comment. Then they're free to do so with no interruption at all. But other sites, you only hand over the testimonial request to people you know are going to give you a good testimonial.
This is a problem not just for the people who should be getting poor reviews. It's a problem for the companies who are genuinely doing it the right way, because they're lost in a swamp of a million good reviews that are probably not correct. You know, and it frustrates me that, I'm not going to lie, in trades, well, in everything, in any sort of industry that you leave.
Not so long ago, I mean, it turned out most of the Amazon reviews were total BS.
Yeah.
Was it Amazon or? It
must frustrate the hell out of the genuine companies who are doing it correctly and putting all the hard work in and getting real good reviews. But as a consumer, and this is me as a consumer again looking in, it's very difficult to pick out what's legitimate and what isn't.
I mean, what we do as a business is, once the installation's complete, and we like to think, you know, we leave, as you know, all our customers as happy as possible. We do ask them to leave a review, because more often than not, we all know it, people are very quick to complain, but not so quick to praise. And there is so much damage done online. If you don't have anything above 4, because you know, a lot of people won't even consider you. You know, so we've worked hard over time to encourage our customers, and it is literally sometimes just asking. You know, people who have said, "Oh, we're really happy," and we say, "Well, if you're happy, do you mind leaving us a review on Google or Facebook?" You just sometimes got to ask. John Vanstone on the Facebook feed saying Certas does about 1,000 reviews direct with customers per month on certification handover. So that trade body there is actually communicating direct with the end user to get feedback on the job done. So I guess it prevents installers lying that they did a good job. If they did a bad job, they can't cover it up and say no, we did a good job, because the customer will go, actually, no, you didn't. So for me, it's communication as well. The industry doesn't always do the best job in communicating to the outside world. We do a good job of communicating to ourselves, but I think if we did better communication to the general public and showed them what actually happens in this sector, because I refuse to believe that this sector is dominated by bad companies. I don't. I think there's a lot of very good people and lots of very good companies out there doing lots of very good work. And I just think if we did a better job of showing that good work off, then it might go somewhere into
It's that perception though, and it's the same in anything. A good job, one good job, you get one person talking about it. You do a bad job, 10 talk about it.
I know, and that's not right. And that's not right. It's Abigail's disagree. We've got a debate going on here on Facebook. I like it. Abigail's saying consumers are more savvy than that these days. We can all read and see repeat comments. We have personal reviews where our clients actually talk about their job and who was involved. Many of our clients review on Google as well as leaving Certas reviews. They take the time to review twice because we build a relationship. Abigail's got it absolutely right.
I disagree here, Abigail, and I'll tell you as for why. We're
still all friends. We just have a disagreement on it. That's all right. Go on.
I think that the companies who do it right, it's easy to decipher. But you're part of a very select group of companies that do it right by the sounds of it. And the problem is most reviews, and this comes from consumers as well, most reviews, I've left reviews for things and it's been very brief. And I wouldn't be able to tell whether mine was genuine or not. And mine are. I don't leave a review unless it's good or bad. Medium doesn't, I don't even bother. If it's good, I praise it. If it's bad, I'll tell them why. It's not destructive, it's constructive criticism when I leave a review. I don't think most consumers' reviews that are generally quick are very easy to decipher whether they're right or wrong or whether they're just made up. That's my honest opinion as a consumer. It's very difficult to tell.
It's all opinion, though.
Sorry, go on, Rhys.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so controversial. Honestly, you could argue either way. It's all a matter of opinion, because unless someone goes to site and says, "Well, why have you given this bad review?" then you've got to prove it. So, I agree with Jason. I think if someone said that, yeah, I've had a good service, then would you mind providing us just with a bit of feedback to say you had a good service? But I think the bad reviews, the good reviews you get maybe one paragraph. The bad reviews you get about 3 paragraphs and about photos attached to the testimonials, and then you got to try and fight it and compare. But so it is very, very controversial. And quick story, which I found quite funny, that my lawyer actually told me was about proof, and it was actually when we were talking about on Site 7 to him. And he said, Rhys, I was involved in a litigation affair once. I think it was one of the major sofa brands. The customer had taken the sofa brand to court, saying they bought a sofa and they didn't feel it was as comfortable as it should have been. And it went back and forth for a couple of weeks. In the end, the judge went to the homeowner's house and sat on the sofa to make a judgment call on whether he found it was comfortable or not comfortable. And that is a true story. Where'd you go with that?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
That's brilliant, yeah.
Anyway, let's go to some more light-hearted chat.
Hold on. No, listen, I want to about reviews.
Listen. before you do, we've got a few more people on. What's everyone drinking?
What's everybody drinking?
What's everyone drinking? We need to know what everyone's drinking tonight at the bar.
I've opened my Stormtrooper. It's not that good.
Peroni's still on Peroni. I'm on. What am I on? What's Portuguese beer? I forgot what it's called.
Sagres.
Sagres.
That's it. Yeah. Speaking of reviews, and then we'll move on. It's not a window review. I'm quite a holiday snob. If I'm going on holiday, I like to go somewhere as nice as possible. So I do take the time to leave reviews, and we go to the Caribbean quite often. Nice. And it tends to be.
Well, you were going to say Blackpool.
I've moved up in the world, Lee. John's on the Baronia Rioja. So the resorts we go to tend to be heavily visited by Americans and Canadians. Americans are particularly harsh when it comes to reviews. So I read one. Stunning hotel. 5-star, you had 12 bars, 10 restaurants, 4 private beaches, villas, massive, just unreal. You looked at the pictures, and there was this 1-star review. 1 star, bear in mind. So, to leave a 1-star, you must be devastatedly disappointed at your stay at that hotel to leave a 1-star, yeah? Squeaky bed. So, we're in Jamaica, that's it. We're in Jamaica, they put these covers over the mattresses. Too loud. Too loud. That was it. And the poor resort had to try and respond in some professional manner. I mean, again, it weren't just a one-line comment, it was reams of stuff. My child couldn't sleep, I didn't get any sleep, I was pissed off for a week, and I'm thinking, who complains over the noise of a bed? Get a life. You're in a 5-star. How long are you going to spend in that bed? You're going to be on the beach more than you're in bed. You go have a drink, go get a life, go for a swim, or even better, go back and don't come back if you're that bothered by squeaky beds, because the hotel probably don't want you back in the first place. It's absolutely insane. Squeaky beds, noisy beds, 1-star review. You're that devastated.
While we're back on reviews, I think this is a great time to plug our YouTube channel. We're only 6 subscribers away from reaching 100 subscribers.
Get it done. Get us to 100.
Come on, people. We've got people on here that are not subscribed. I know because I've looked. Subscribe, please. Subscribe. If you subscribe,
it's all right. Lee's not taking it personally.
if you subscribe, Jason will give you a back rub next time we have an event. Or a foot rub.
I tell you what, I'll subscribe. I'll subscribe if you send me 4 cans at 8.8% IPA or whatever you've got in the fridge.
You go, Jason.
I will send you them, Rhys.
It's worth every penny.
Well, tell you what I'll do. I'll have to review it tonight while we're on. So I'll swap my other can. I'll get that out of the fridge and I'll tell you what it's like.
Yes, that's all we need.
Because I need to figure out what it's called. I don't even know what it's called. McDermott Windows. We received a 1-star review on Google because the showroom was closed during the first lockdown.
Criminal, Steve.
How dare you? How dare you, Steve? Quit your go on.
John says subscribe and Jason cuts his hair. I'll cut his ponytail off, whatever it is. If you subscribe.
That is brilliant. I love that.
That John Vanstone's just jealous of me top knot. We got a 1-star review because we didn't work on a Sunday.
Slacker.
I'm not kidding.
That's all I can say. You're a slacker.
I'm not kidding. It wasn't even a big job. It was a sealed unit, and they were a jumped up young couple. I'm sorry, their attitude stank. They came into the office. They signed up and said, "Right, I need final survey done on Sunday." I'm sorry, we don't work Sundays. What? Oh yeah, we don't work Sundays. Well, that's outrageous. We work 7 days a week for our money, so that's great, but we don't work Sundays. well, this is absolutely outrageous. If I wouldn't have signed up, if you want to say, look, by all means cancel, but we are not coming out on a Sunday to fit a sealed unit when your attitude stinks like that. So with all due respect, go cancel, and we ain't coming.
Yep.
Sunday, and then we got a 1-star review. This is what it says. This company's clearly making far too much money. They wouldn't come out on a Sunday. We work 7 days a week for our hard-earned cash, and they wouldn't come out on a Sunday.
Unbelievable.
Can't even have a day off, Rhys. Now, not even on a day off.
We've had a customer of ours ringing up now. I was only talking about it yesterday, actually. She's been calling up for about 10 days, every single day.
This is a homeowner, sorry.
Yeah, homeowner, yeah. Can't get through my door. I can just about get through it. When I get through it, I can't lock it. Nightmare every single day. So, service engineer went yesterday, and it's not even our door. You know, it's the port. She said, look, your door's fine, look. But it's the inside door I can't get in. And he's like, what? So
that's mad. So she's shouting at you for something you didn't even fit.
Every single day for nearly 10 days, 11 days, whatever it was, and it wasn't even our door. You know, and this is what I'm saying. We've all got stories. You know, we've all got these events, and we spoke about this a few weeks ago, Jason. I've done sales events around the country, and I've sat in the room with like 10 people at a time, different backgrounds, different areas, and everyone's got a story. And some of them, I mean that 1-star review for not opening the show during the pandemic is absolutely brilliant.
That's the worst one I've ever read. I hope, Steve at McDermott's, I hope you replied. Because it's just ludicrous. I mean, there was a segment we tried to start and we should have followed it through, was nightmare customers. We had one once, Rhys. In fact, I'll tell you two here. So we had one where we sold some roof line. Soffit's fascias, guttering, and about 2 years later, we get a call saying, "There's leaves in my gutter." I'm like, all right. Well, it's blocking up my gutter. Right? Oh, and I need you to come out and clean it. I'm like, nah, man. No, it's not up to me to clean the leaves out of your gutter. No, you've got to come and do it. You'll fit it. I says, it's not our fault. There's trees where you live. No, it's outrageous. You've got to come fit. I said, we ain't coming. If you buy a car, Mr. Smith, do you send it back to the dealer every time just to get it cleaned? Well, no. I said, well, why do we have to come clean your gutters every time a leaf drops in it? Nah, man. Second one, a builder turned up on time and got told off. so we fitting a door in.
To be fair, if you've got a builder who turns up on time, that is a rarity in itself.
But why are we getting told off for it?
Because they weren't expecting it, probably.
No, right.
They were expecting them to come tomorrow, so they'd book the day after off.
We're fitting a door, right? It's a single skin brick wall, and she's going into a hallway, and she's having the hallway decorated. And I say to her, don't do the plastering. We have to put a lintel in above your soldier course. We're going to need to grind out the bricks. It's going to be a bit messy. Do the plastering once we've done our work, yeah? So, builder turns up, bang on time. And then I get a phone call. Your builder's here. Right, yeah. He just turned up. It was 9 o'clock, yeah? Yeah. He just got up and got on with job. Right? Well, he didn't even give me a chance to make him a cup of tea. I said, what do you want him to do? He's got to do a job. He's parked on the wrong side at drive. I said, I didn't know there was a wrong side at drive. Did you tell him? No. Was there a sign up? No. I said, well, he's not a bloody mind reader. There's dust on my bushes. I said, well, yeah, there will, because we have to grind out the cement. We have to grind out the cement. We have to take the bricks out. Well, you should have said. I said, we did say. We sent you a letter saying what to move everything around the working area before we come. Well, I think it's outrageous. He just turns up, he just gets on with the job, he parks on the wrong side of the drive and says, whoa, hang on. And you've busted me plaster. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I've had it plastered. I said, so you didn't listen to what I said about having it not plastered until we've done the job? Well, I had to get it done. I says, I told you not to do it because we had to take the bricks out, and if you did that, the plaster would come down. I said, tell you what, we'll leave it there. Your complaint isn't a complaint. The builder's turned up on time, got on with the job, and he's told me if he'd have actually waited for him to finish the job, he was going to hose your bushes down. But I've pulled him off.
I'm not being funny, but if I would have heard that comment, I wouldn't have been able to hold myself back for making silly comments. I was Callum is just on about it now. Although, listen, I'm going to interrupt this with you're getting a bit of grief off John at the minute about your rat's tail hairstyle. And I was thinking exactly the same. Callum's just commented it reminds him of Rodney and the Yuppie episode in Only Fools and Horses.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Getting abuse.
Yeah.
Public service here. You
do, yeah.
Yeah, listen, while we're talking about satisfaction and customer satisfaction, I might as well squeeze this in. What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory.
Oh. I did warn you, Rhys. I did warn you. It gets worse as well.
You've got to take your opportunities. You've got to take your opportunities.
That's the only reason I agreed to come on the call.
For the
Anyway, listen, on a more light-hearted subject, back to sport a minute.
I was enjoying that. Spilling my beans.
Yeah, you do. You like complaining about people. So, no, we're going to go off topic now. Listen, what about... We've got a new feature coming up, and it's not for everybody because it is sports and it's a specific sport. But we're gonna let people change it a little bit. On Tuesday, we're going to be releasing a new feature we're doing, which is kind of an extension of this. And I'm going to be careful of this. It's called 1 to 11, Fenex 1 to 11, and basically it is a feature where people can give their favourite football team 1 to 11, goalkeeper, right back, centre back, left back, midfield, forwards and captain, stuff like that. So we're letting everybody pick their own best players that they've ever seen, whether they've seen them live at a football game or whether they've seen them on TV and they rate them. And we're starting off with Mick from GQA, who's a massive Barnsley fan. So he's done our pilot episode. So we're releasing it on Tuesday, and it's really, really good, isn't it, Jason?
The production value is awesome.
It's got production value in it and everything. It's so if anybody likes football and they want to do one, and you want to give us your favourite 1 to 11, but for non-football fans, we're going to cover this. We're also going to let you pick. And it has to be 11 because it's called 1 to 11. Your favourite, if you want to do the MotoGP and you want to pick your favourite 11, your favourite rugby players, all right, the formations won't be there, but
they're going to be seriously undermanned as a rugby team.
But we can change it to any sport, American football, whatever you want to do. But football's obviously the main one. So if anybody wants to take part in it, get in touch.
Listen. On more important matters, Wales could win a Grand Slam.
Obviously, yeah.
Tomorrow. But
are you looking forward to it, Rhys? Are you going to be watching it? I take it.
Without a doubt, yeah. 8 o'clock kick off. So
are you confident?
It's just an excuse to drink more beer, really.
Is that the kick off? 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yeah.
That's a late start. Is that in it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But
are you confident? Do you think you'll do it?
Yeah.
Are you at home or away?
Away.
Ooh, in Paris.
Yeah.
Jason, you asked me, even though I don't know much about rugby, you said at the start of the Six Nations, we were talking about who you thought would win, and I said Wales will always have a chance because they turn up for the Six Nations every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
every time.
You did say that, but when we Scotland have turned up. France are transformed. I will say this, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. I think it's time to introduce relegation, Rhys, because poor Italy, it's not good for them to stay in this competition like this.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Because more often than not, it comes down to the final game and how many points you put past Italy to decide a championship.
Yeah.
And I think they've conceded at least 40. I think it's at least 40 points in every game.
Well, my brother went to Italy the year before last to watch the Wales-Italy game, and he said it was just before half-time and half the Italy fans left the stadium. Why would you put your team and your country through it when they just cannot win a game?
See, look, Sam Warburton came up with this, and I agree with him. You should have a feeder tournament, a lower league, so where your other European nations, Russia, Georgia, Romania, Italy, they play for that final spot, that 6th spot. Because look at Georgia. Georgia's a good team now.
Yeah.
They could put up a stronger fight. I'm sorry, if there's any Italy fans watching, but there's nothing substantial there to put on an 80-minute performance. And unfortunately, like Rhys has just said, you look at the games. I've watched them, Rhys. I remember when fans were allowed in stadiums. By half time, the stadium were half empty.
Yeah, you feel embarrassed for them, and if they had a couple of wins, even every 2 years, I suppose, it'd be worth fighting for, and it's something to work upon. But at the moment, it's nothing to work upon.
I don't think they've won a game. I was listening to commentary last week in 29 games.
That's incredible.
So what's that, 5-6 years?
Yeah, you can imagine the changing room conversations at the start and half time. Come on now, fellas, get out there.
How do you raise a team's confidence if you've not won in years? The thing is, if you have a feeder tournament, if Italy play the likes of Romania, Georgia, Russia, and so on, they'll probably win some games. And if they if they win promotion to the Six Nations, they'll come in feeling more confident and will probably play better. But they'll also deserve that place.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
But I can't see the benefit to Italian rugby with them just turning up and having 40, 50 points put past them every game.
No, I know.
Because other teams then bank on that game, don't they? It's Italy. Oh, that's a win. I'll just put 40 points past them. But then at the end, I remember, other years. Was it not last year? Year before? Again, it came down to points difference. Again, I can't remember who won, but you're putting 5, 6, 7 tries past Italy. You're just racking up your points difference because you might lose to somebody else, and you need the points difference in the bag. I don't know. I just think, I don't know, Georgia, Russia, or something. Just mix it up a bit, or at least expand the tournament.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What about what we're watching on Netflix and Amazon and stuff at the minute? Because we've not spoke about this at the moment. Binge watching series and films. What are you watching, Rhys? Do you have time? Are you a Netflix fan, Rhys? Or
yeah, I've been watching loads over the last 12 months. The Designated Survivor, just finished the first series of that.
Not started watching that yet.
Good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, get straight into it. Worth a watch without a doubt. We're on to the new one now. What are we on to? I'm trying to think of the name of it. The Drowning. You seen that?
I've seen it. I've not watched it. We're watching the.
My wife's into the thrillers. We watched The Queen's Gambit recently. That was pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Is that the chess one, Queen's Gambit?
Is that the what? Sorry.
The chess one.
Yeah. There's no major highs or lows of it, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's exciting. It's just really watchable if you fancy that. But
I've been watching the remake of Stephen King's The Stand.
Okay.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm not one for remakes, especially with Stephen King stuff. It's not usually very good, but I've got to be honest, that is really good.
Abigail on Facebook saying Marvel any day. We've just finished watching Scarlet Witch on Disney Plus. We love Marvel. That is a fantastic series.
I haven't seen that.
Do you like your Marvel stuff, Rhys?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Me and my son absolutely love it.
I can watch every Marvel film over and over again. I must have watched Endgame a dozen times.
Thor Ragnarok, absolutely.
Ragnarok's a cracking film.
Absolutely. All the soundtrack, amazing.
It just, I think the first two Thor films are crap. The third one, changed the director, and it just perfect for Thor. But this is how much of a Marvel fan I am, and Lee knows this. Me and Soph cried when Iron Man died in the cinema.
Yeah.
We were like, we bawled his eyes out.
You don't expect it, though, do you? You don't expect.
I mean, I don't know how it didn't leak out either. I mean, such a big thing like that, and it didn't.
Yeah, he's a massive character in it. Absolutely massive.
Unreal. And we've downloaded the Snyder cut of Justice League, so we're going to watch that over the weekend. But it's 4 hours long. It's 4 hours long. So that might be a Saturday and Sunday. We might split it into 2 hours. Watch a couple of hours on Saturday and then a couple on Sunday. But it's got good reviews, and it fills in a lot of the gaps that were missing from the original cut that missed out, and apparently it's a lot better for it. So we're going to catch up on that over the weekend.
Excellent.
And yeah, we've been watching The Crown.
Yeah, we haven't started that yet. I'm gonna have a look at that soon.
It's good. It's based on as much of a truer story as they can muster, and if it is true to that degree, it's really interesting as to what happened.
Awesome.
So yeah, I would watch that. Lee, I'll let you take over for a minute. I'm just going to go away for a minute, and then I will join you back in a minute.
No problem. What about films, Rhys? What do you watch films wise? Are you a films man, or are you more series?
Yeah, films all day long, really.
What sort of genre do you like? What are you into? Thrillers, horror, action?
Horror and action, really. Yeah.
Horror, I love my horror films. There's not many people seem to like horror films nowadays, but I'm a bit of I'm a stickler for the old horror films. I like the zombie films. I love like Dawn of the Dead, like the original Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. But I'll watch any horror films. I love them all.
Yeah, I like a bit of horror, action films, like the and just stuff like, I suppose, the old ones like Independence Day and things.
Oh yeah.
Day After Tomorrow, those sort of tragedy films.
Yeah.
Bring always turn good in the end. Are generally pretty good stuff, like, worth a watch. Interstellar.
You know what? I only watched that February for the first time. And I was shocked. Do you know what? I've put it off, thinking, it'll not be very good. And I really, really enjoyed that.
But it's one of those films you end up watching, and you will watch it again, without a doubt. I like those films that actually, and I find, especially in the working environment, your working environments are so intense these days that films like Interstellar and those sorts of ones, they just completely lose you,
Yeah, they take you out of it takes you away, doesn't it, a little bit?
Yeah, it takes you out of the realm of real life, I suppose, which is what you need sometimes, But definitely enjoy the films. Just don't get a lot of time these days to watch them.
I know that's my problem. Especially this year seems to have gone absolutely mad with how busy I'm not watching as much as what I used to. But I started watching. I like crime stuff as well, like not like real life crime. So I've been watching a lot like the Narcos stuff, but there's one called Patron Del Mar, and it's about what they call it, drug lord in Colombia. Narcos, main one, not what they call him,
Escobar or something.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
But it's all in subtitles, but it tells a story from him being a young kid growing up into how he, right up until the point he died. And I tell you what, even though it's in subtitles, what a program that is. But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stick it out. It's something like 96 episodes. That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhys, have you just sent me a text?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to duck in.
No, that's fine. That's okay.
Guys.
That's cool. Well, look, before you go, thank you for taking the time with us tonight. I've really enjoyed it, and I think people in the comment section have really enjoyed it as well. This is the 8.2, by the way.
You've got to send some of them to Rhys.
So
Yeah,
this is
my address.
This is called Clairvoyance by Magic Rock in Huddersfield. So Lee, we need to get Rhys some of this, but it is 8.2.
Don't be bringing me into this. You've agreed it with Rhys. This is your baby. You can get them sent now.
So,
8.2.
What I do want to say, Rhys, it's been a pleasure having you on, but if anybody wants to get in touch regarding Lecker on the Roof side or on site 7, and what do you want them to do? Is any sort of contact details, or what do you want us to do?
Yeah, Lecker Systems. It's lekasystems.co.uk, and drop us a line or a contact form. Any information at all about anything. There's no obligation, obviously. On-site 7 is that. It's on-site and the number 7.co.uk. Likewise, phone or contact. And any questions, we were offering free demonstrations for the software side of things. And the roof system, or any of the products, actually, we can send out samples, brochures. We've got sales representatives on the road as well, so we can actually visit you face to face. We're all a group of friendly people, ethical, like-minded. I would like to say thanks very much for inviting me on. I've never been a special guest before.
Pleasure.
I've enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed it. It's do you know what? Losing the social interactivity outside of the house is this brought it back in, which is great, and I appreciate
nice.
that. No, I do. Generally, it's been a good laugh. Put the world to rights, and speaking of like-minded people.
This is why we like doing this. This is for all the work that we do, Rhys. This is an escape. I think for me and Lee, and when we have guests on, but it's an escape for other people as well, because they get an opportunity to engage with something different. And as you say, it brings a social aspect back, and me and Lee love having guests on. So you are more than welcome to come back and do this another time with us.
Definitely.
When we can eventually meet up all together, we are, Rhys, we are organising a bit of a jolly up somewhere.
Portugal?
So it'll be in person at some point as well.
Be in Portugal?
If I'm still here, you're more than welcome.
I appreciate it,
pleasure,
guys.
mate. Pleasure. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, we'll pass them on as well. So
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Hope you've had a nice evening. I have, and thanks very much. Enjoy the rest.
Thank you, Rhys. Take care, buddy.
Cheers, Rhys.
Cheers, guys. Bye bye.
Oh, Rhys was awesome.
Good guy.
Love Rhys.
Good product, to be fair, though.
Do you know what? He's an honest guy, and he's got a good, honest ethos. And you always feel positive after you talk to him, because he's just straight as they come, and there's not enough open and ethical people like him. So thank you, Rhys, for taking your time. We took a bit more time than we promised you at the beginning, but thank you for. Do
you know what? I'm getting excited. Kev's got his cider going. He's sending me some cider. What a man. Kev, you're an hero.
Callum, this is a DDH IPA double. It's a double IPA. Callum's asking in the comments. Do you know I've oversold Rhys? I said it were 8.2. It's only 7.2. But should we try it? You might see me go to sleep live on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, that smells awesome. Oh yeah. You see, this is where we need Mick on, Lee from GQA. This is his segment now.
We'll have a beer tasting session with Mick at some point. But how many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
Tentacles.
Hey, go on, Jason. Tell us a joke. Tell us a joke we know. As Peter Kay said. There you go.
Tentacles.
Tentacles.
Yep. Callum, this is a DDH IPA by Bad Co. And then I do have something called Explicit Emphasis by Wild Child.
By the way, Jason, we've now got 96 subscribers. 2 new subscribers. We need another 4. Come on, people.
Well,
There's
John,
plenty of people on here tonight.
Well, Rhys subscribed and John subscribed tonight.
Well, we need 4 more. We've got people on here that come on, people.
Friends, tell your family. Put it on YouTube.
I'm going to be devastated if we haven't got 100 subscribers by the end of today. I'm going to be devastated. It's going to be.
Justin Ratcliffe's on the comments. I hope you've subscribed, Justin. Listening to tonight makes one realise how much we miss the renowned socialising at industry events and get-togethers. Great format, guys. This is why we do it. And to be honest, Justin, we enjoy doing it. We have done this for a year, and I think I appreciate doing it more now than at the beginning because we've gone without the social interaction for so long that this gives me and Lee a chance. We connect with each other. You got to remember, me and Lee, we're best friends, we work together, but we've not seen each other. So it gives me and Lee a chance to communicate with each other, have a laugh, tell some bad jokes.
Look at your new shelves in your kitchen. Gives me a chance to see them.
But it also gives us a chance to interact with other people.
Are they wonky, by the way?
No.
Look a bit uneven.
You leave our shelves alone. They're perfectly level.
I'm just trying to make you paranoid so you're measuring them all weekend.
They're fine. No, it gives us a chance to interact with other people as well. And we enjoy it. We work absolutely as arses off during the week. And this is actually our downtime. We enjoy doing this because it's something different, don't we?
Definitely. And we like socialising with that kind of people anyway.
And as Justin hinted to, and when we can, as Lee's just said, when we can meet up, we will meet up.
Yeah, we'll get together in a beefer.
Rhys has just said Portugal anyway. You're clearly not listening to what's being said.
See, this is why I asked you the other day, Jason. Sam said, "How come you've moved room, Jason?"
I've not.
Told you it looks different. It's your shelves. It's your uneven shelves.
I'm just sat the other side of the table. That's all.
It's not. It's your uneven shelves. It makes your room look very different.
I've got my ornamental bananas in the background. Look, my perfectly level shelves. That's so cool, actually, not me.
Are they real? Does everybody know what your relationship is with fruit?
I'm not allergic to bananas. It's apples, pears.
Just so people know, Jason, if he eats fruit, he turns into Elephant Man.
It's not that bad. Actually, depending what I eat, it could be that bad. No, so bananas I'm alright with.
Fake bananas. Fake bananas, you're right. Fake bananas.
They're real. Real.
Oh, right, okay.
Real bananas.
Balloon up in a minute. Kind of like beef burger hands, fat hands.
If I eat an apple or a pear, or if I eat too many strawberries or jackfruit, I end up like properly swollen lips. Throat swells up. Oh, it's terrible, honestly. But I can eat some fruit. Samantha Hill, I liked the Christmas tree. Yeah, we did this once. In the lounge, in front of my Christmas tree.
Jason, do you know my Christmas tree's still up at home?
Didn't you put it down before you left?
No, I wanted something nice to come back to.
It's middle of bloody summer, man, when you come back. Are you coming back to a bloody Christmas tree?
Yeah, it's still up.
Have you got the decorations on it and everything?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Anyway.
Oh, Callum.
Leslie Ash, Callum. Leslie Ash was my neighbour. Leslie Ash and Lee Chapman lived across the road from me.
Leslie Ash was your neighbour.
Leslie Ash and Lee Chapman lived across the road from my mum and dad when I lived at home as a kid.
Bloody hell.
I used to kick the ball over the fence on purpose so I could get Lee Chapman to take the ball to Hillsborough because he played for Wednesday at the time. So I must have had about 40 signed footballs from Wednesday team. Just kick it over the fence on purpose and go and ask him see if he'd sign him.
So you were always the pain in the arse neighbour.
He loved it. I were far too young to appreciate Leslie Ash at that point.
Samantha Hill saying, "Oh,
that's when she were in that. What did they call that program? Not Dempsey and Makepeace. It was Cats something.
Men Behaving Badly.
No, it was before that. She were in like some sort of cop program.
That's the other thing I knew. Sam's allergic to strawberries. It makes her look like one. Oh, it must cause a rash.
Callum, no, she didn't. It was before whatever happened. But I was far too young to appreciate Leslie Ash at that age. To be fair,
can I just say, Callum, that is nice. That is seriously good. Yeah, I can approve of that. Yeah, we'll be sending Rhys some of that, Lee. That's nice. Lovely.
I've gone off track of what I wanted to speak about. That's it. So what I wanted to speak about is the future of the industry.
Oh yeah.
Where is it going to be? Are we too slow as an industry, or can we adapt? Can we change and be a forward-thinking industry?
I heard a saying yesterday, Lee, and I think this applies very much to our sector, is that the future is always here, you just can't always spot it. And I think really what that does is it explains that for a lot of people, either by choice or by ignorance, don't see the progression in front of them. I mean, you look at what Rhys is doing with On-Site 7 and the protection for installers. I mean, that solves so many problems. And that will be adopted. That's going to be adopted by a lot of installers, by the way. I mean, it's still early days for Rhys with that, but that everyone is going to use that. It's a bold prediction. Everyone's going to use that. And you look at what Mark said earlier on about his reps wanting to go back to the old way. There's still a lot of people in this sector, Lee, who want to go back to the old way of doing it. And then you look further in the comments. You look at Steve at McDermott saying how a lot of his sales are coming through online, remotely. He doesn't do anywhere near as many home visits as he did, and he's never been busier. So, I think the answer to that question depends on who you ask. I think the future of the industry lies with the people who are prepared to accept change and embrace it, and the people who don't will get left behind. And whether you like it or not, the future is with technology. Digital mostly, embracing new ways of selling, embracing new ways of pricing, embracing new ways of managing your workload. And if you can adapt a lot of that to your advantage, get used to it, learn it, understand it, work smarter, not harder, then I think you're a winner. But Lee, my doubt is that whilst half the industry I would like to think is forward thinking, half the industry is not. And that I think me and you both know through our experiences in dealing with the sector in terms of the things we've tried to implement.
Paul, lighter note then. Paul Ogden, what's everybody's claim to fame? You got a claim to fame, Jason? I've got a couple.
I've got a few. I suppose my coolest one is me and Soph went on holiday to the Dominican. Bradford had just lost to Millwall in the playoffs. Right?
This is not a claim to fame.
This is my claim.
It's a Sunday League footballer beating you.
It's not Sunday League.
Go on, carry on.
No, you poo-pooed me started before I even started.
No, go on. You've got to carry on now, just so you can.
So you can what?
So we can judge it. So everyone can.
Piss on my chips after
don't
I've
want
told
people
it,
to judge it
that's
through
right.
my comments.
Whoa! Samantha Hill kissed Gary Lineker.
Oh,
we can't get her on. How do we get her on? Lee,
Kiss
we're
and
gonna have to. Should we get her on
Kiss
Zoom?
and tell, Sam. Kiss and tell.
Should we try and get her on Zoom? Get her patched in.
Kiss and tell.
To tell.
We'll have her on another time. She can talk about that next time we speak to her.
No, I think if I give her a Zoom link, I can patch her in.
No, we'll have her on as a guest properly another time.
Oh, but that's too big a story to ignore.
No, it's a full story in itself. We've got an hour's worth of stuff coming out of that in next one. Sam, you're invited as a guest soon.
There's his next
Kiss
guest.
and tell story.
That's brilliant. Anyway, long story short, I parted with Bradford star striker James Anson for a week. Met Steve Davis.
It'd be more of a story if it were Lisa I answered.
Met Steve Davis. I don't know. We've met a few famous people, but I'm not one to go up and. If I see someone I recognise, I don't bother him. The difference with James Anson is he came up to us because we were in the resort we were in was literally full of Americans and Canadians, and we were the only Brits there. And I think he was feeling a bit left out. So me and Soph were playing with American football in pool, and he sort of just wafted over to us and in the pool and started talking to us. And they were absolutely sound, lad. We had dinner with him, and we're drinking with him all week. But I don't like to, if I see someone I recognise, I don't like because they're going about their daily life. I don't want, they don't want bothering.
This is going to be interesting. Marky Cox says he was in a video that went viral. Look up Wheelie Bin Man. We'll have to have a look at that.
Callum Williams. I sold Frank Bruno and his daughter some trainers in a previous life.
How big were his feet, Callum? What size trainer? Did he have like clown feet?
What a question. Oh God.
Did he have clown feet, or were they small for a man of his size and build?
Sam's also met Pierce Brosnan.
Oh.
James Bond.
Now he's a good-looking fella, is Mr. Brosnan.
Hold on. So Sam's up for being a guest next time. She says, "Okay, you're on. I have a few more too." Sam.
He did too. You kiss Pierce Brosnan. He is a very attractive-looking man. Is Pierce Brosnan?
Is he your best Bond? Who's your best Bond?
Oh, now you're asking. I was devastated when he got the role, Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
But I think it's very close between him I don't know. I want to be careful what I say here. There's three choices.
Hold on, while you're thinking of your choices, Samantha Hill's also met Jensen Button and Rubens Barrichello. Callum says Frank Bruno's daughter was 14 at the time and wore a size 9 at 14.
See, I told you 9's small for someone of Frank Bruno's size. I were interested in what.
That's his daughter. Yeah. That's his daughter.
Oh, his daughter! Wow.
And she was 14.
I wonder what his size feet were. They must have been right clown shoes.
John Vanstone has watched a match with Kenny Dalglish, Andy and Rush at Anfield, and then went to the bar with them. That's cool.
Callum, I know, Callum. What there isn't, is there? Anyway, listen. What I'm stuck, right? Sean Connery was always my favourite. I really like Pierce Brosnan, even though I thought it was a terrible decision until he started doing it. And I like Daniel Craig.
I like Daniel Craig.
I would love to see Tom Hardy play Bond.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
I think he would do a cracking job of James Bond. But if you read the books, Tom Hardy could do the proper Bond, not the woman, not the good-looking womanizer, the drunk, rough edge, proper Bond. I think he would make a proper old.
A good actor is Tom Hardy. Have you watched him in Bronson?
I've watched a lot of his stuff.
Have you watched Bronson?
Films. Yeah.
It's only 90 minutes long, but bloody hell, that's a good film. You see, I think Idris Elba would be a good Bond.
Don't know.
He's got that suave, the one he's got that class. Like Daniel
I
Craig,
think
he's
it
got
needs
that
a change. I think it needs a change.
My favourite Bond. I don't know what Callum's on about there. My favourite Bond is my fave. Well, yeah. But my favourite Bond films are all Roger Moore films. Callum's clearly been on the beer. So, maybe you can get Mark on as well next time and we can talk about a few things, including the celeb stuff, but some industry updates too. I like it when Sam and Mark get going because they generally disagree.
There's a bit of banter with Sam and Mark.
They work for the same business, but they generally disagree. Oh, Mark Hickox. I had food and drinks with VR46. I'm sorry, I don't know there. I watched Kevin. Kevin. I'm not saying that. Oh no, yeah. Mark did the Maracana with Marquez and beat Dovey at pool. Revved up some. Mark's been about a bit, hasn't he?
Macarena, Maracana.
Macarena. Oh yeah.
Dear me. You know what my claim to fame is, Jason?
Go on.
Receiving a phone call while I was in the shower getting ready for a bar crawl in Ibiza from none other than Barry Chuckle.
Really?
Barry Chuckle.
Oh,
and I couldn't believe it. I picked the phone up, it were on the side. And my mates had gone to watch the Chuckle Brothers in Rotherham and they got him to phone me. And his first words were, to me, to you. To me. And I was like, what the... as a surreal moment. That was it.
It's a VR46 and Valentino Rossi. I don't watch the sport, so I don't know. I can't know everything. Justin Ratcliffe. I opened a new account for a regular customer at Plum Centre when working there as a graduate trainee. He gave his address as 25 Cromwell Street. I feel like I'm supposed to know what that address is. Let me just work this out. 25 Cromwell Street. Oh God.
Isn't that Fred West?
Oh God, it is, yeah. Oh bloody hell.
I didn't even have to Google that. I was just thinking, is it not Fred and Rose West?
Jesus.
That's got to be a joke, Justin. Underfloor heating.
We'll move on. The comment section's getting debauched here. You're all descending into debauchery. Unbelievable. I'm trying to think who else famous I've seen.
Well, as footballers go, if we're talking about footballers, like I said, I used to live across the road from Lee Chapman.
Yeah, you were a pain in his arse.
And the garden directly across from us, like facing us. So our back garden went onto his onto his back garden was Howard Wilkinson because he was a manager at the time. So we had Howard Wilkinson at the back of us and Lee Chapman at the side of us. And I used to, on my paper round at that age, round the corner, I used to deliver papers to Brian Marwood. Remember Brian Marwood?
Nope.
Played for Arsenal. Did he play for England, Brian Marwood? I can't remember. He played for Arsenal on Wednesday. He was a Wednesday player at the time.
John Vanstone's had dinner with Jonah Lomu. Jonah Lomu. He's not with us anymore, is he?
And I've told you me. I don't know whether I shouldn't have told it on here, but I've told you my story about Jason Donovan, haven't I, in Gran Canaria.
I think you have. Don't repeat it if it's not.
That's for a beer session in the pub when I'm not on air.
We won't.
Jason Donovan, by the way, if you want a party, he is a party animal.
Oh God, who did we meet in the cinema? Darren Day, right? So
I close my eyes.
we were. Oh, I've lost the stream on my phone. Jonah Lomu is he's not with us anymore, but was one of the best rugby players of all time. John Vanstone's had dinner with him. Lucky guy. We once met. We were younger. We were winding up Darren Day. He's shorter than I thought. We were in Cineworld in Wakefield, and he was with, I assume, his wife or girlfriend. And me and my brother and his mate were there. So I said, bloody Darren Day there. And his mate at the time was like, oh, Darren Day. So we got into this stupid routine where we didn't pretend we heard each other. We started calling out his name, Darren Day, louder and louder. I just turned around and was going, we stopped telling my name. Like, oh. So we wound up Darren Day in Cineworld is the story. You're right, miserable fart. Honestly. But you're right short. It's true. TV makes you look taller. He was shorter than me. And I'm not particularly tall. There you go. Yeah, Darren Day. Miserable. There you go. Callum sold trainers to Jermaine Genus. And Samantha's met Jeremy Clarkson.
What size foot was Jeremy Janus as well? Really clown foot.
He's a tall guy. Stop calling him clown feet. He's a tall guy. Can you get English TV over there?
Yeah.
Do you get Soccer AM?
Yeah.
Did you watch it a couple of weeks ago when Frank Bruno were on?
No. I wish I had, because I like Frank Bruno.
He's... Oh, God. Lee, look at Facebook comment there.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road.
Worst person. My mum and... No, I can't even... No. It's just no. No, sorry, John. I'm not saying that one. Frank Bruno was swearing, but I think they thought he might because they bleeped it out. They blanked him out. So they must have had it on a 5 or 10 second loop, timer. Because they blanked his swearing out. They were interviewing him. And he were crap. They were doing the routine they do. They try and score all different goals, penalties and free kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
He can't move for shit now. He's stiff as oak.
I watched one probably the week before that, and it was what they call him from Happy Mondays. Bears. Not Bears. Were it Bears? Oh, were it Bears or were it other guy? Can't remember.
I don't know. Kev in the comments, my nephew always calls a quiz team. He's in Quiz Akabusi. When on one event he gets a tap on the shoulder from Chris Akabusi. No way. That's mad. How did he? Oh, that's brilliant. Chris Akabusi, he's fantastic. He's absolutely full of beans. I met loads of celebs at the Hilton Park Lane a few years back. That Fred bloke, the man that showed you to the chair. Fred bloke, I don't know what he's talking. Do you know what Mark's referring to that? I don't know the reference. Kev, I stole Foggy from the top table at an awards do and he stayed on our table. Bloody hell. Mark, my son sat next to Jack Grealish at school for years. Kids' parties, great lad, wicked footballer, daft as a brush. I'm assuming Mark, he used to fall down every time he got off his chair then, yeah? Jack Grealish spends more time on the floor diving than a professional diver.
I think I've said this before. I forgot about this one, and this was a good one. I met a lot of celebrities out holiday repping, especially in Ibiza. But this one were in Gran Canaria. Told you I met Jordan. She were with my rep mate with him.
Jordan.
And I were talking to a friend, and they were both absolute arseholes. But that aside, this is a corker, this one. And when you've got a thing for someone as a bloke when you're younger, like you just fancy a woman, right, who's a celebrity. And I think I've mentioned this one before. I was picking people up for this event, and it were an 80s event where we had people like Tony. I think Go West were on, whatever it were. There were 3 bands on. Go West were on, and 2 others, quite popular bands. And I was picking people up, and there were 2 girls who hadn't turned up for the coach and had to go and knock on the hotel room. Come on, what are you doing? I was banging on door. You need to. We're coming. We're coming. We will not be long. We're just getting ready. About 30 minutes after, we're late by miles. And they strolled out, and my jaw dropped, and it was the woman from Footballer's Wife. Footballer's Wives. Were it Footballer's Wives?
Footballer's Wives, that little programme.
No.
Dream Team.
Dream Team. What were her name?
Sky One. Is it the woman who's in Coronation Street? No.
Yes. But back then, she was like...
She was chairman in Dream Team, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, God, what was her name? Oh, I know exactly who it is. I can see her, but I don't know her name.
Linda Block. Mate, I had a thing before I went out holiday repping, and my dad did as well. I rung my dad. I went on coach. I was saying, Dad, you never guess who's on my... Never guess who I've just knocked on the door of. And I had a dance with her as well. We had a right laugh that night.
Oh, Mark's just lying now. My mum lives next door to Peter Andre. But who have you not met, Mark?
Jordan was one of the worst human beings I've ever come across. Sorry, I shouldn't really be talking about celebrities on here, but she was an horrible, horrible person. I don't care. It was a real life scenario. She was a nasty, horrible. I left
according to Selfridges, 100 years ago,
they were just horrible people.
Listen, according to Selfridges, 100 years ago, the customer is always right.
Yeah, I weren't working at the time. It were a night out.
Don't worry, Mark. I'm only winding you up. Mark, connection to the world's most famous people. We're in the wrong job here, mate. We need to be
Peter Andre.
We've got the wrong job.
My mate won't be watching this, so he'll forgive me. Richard, my mate, he ended up in the mute. He's not in it anymore. He ended up being a writer. He wrote songs for shows in America. Some sort of Vampire Diary thing, that sort of program.
Oh yeah.
And he did some Sony stuff as well. But he was in a band when he was 16, and he were a boy band, and he were a good-looking guy. So it were like a proper, old school boy band, curtains, blonde hair. And honestly, the amount of girls that used to turn up his door, they used to knock on my door we really live next door to him. They used to knock on our door. Honestly, bringing stuff like just. I'm not even going to go into the door
to knock on.
not going to tell you what sort of things they were bringing, but they lost on Channel 4. There were a competition where it was either Peter Andre or them, and Peter Andre, mysterious girl, beat him, and he went on to be famous, and they didn't. They dropped out like a stone.
Oh God!
Peter Andre took his glory away.
Oh, Mark's taking it seriously now. Mark, I'm only joking. Doesn't mean I'm interested. Not a claim to fame. To me, knowing I know. I'm only having a laugh. Don't worry. Justin Ratcliffe worked with Steve McLaren and the late Jim Smith in the 1995-96 when chair of the National Derby County Supporters Club. Do you remember when Steve McLaren worked in Holland and he suddenly had a Dutch accent after a few months?
Wally with a brolly.
That stupid interview he gave with a Dutch accent. Do you remember?
I remember well.
What? Why? It wasn't even real. You can't pick up an accent that quick and talk like that. You were pretending to forget English. Lee, I am sweating. I am sweating really bad. Oh, for anybody who saw, I had my first jab yesterday. I had the AstraZeneca vaccine. I don't know why. I'm 32. I'm way below way below the age groups they're going from, and I did have some side effects. I went to bed at midnight.
When did they start immunising school kids?
Piss off. But no, I got there. I got there, and even the people immunised. I said, I don't even know why I've been called. I said, I'm only 32. I was like, well, have you got any underlying health conditions? I was like, no, not really. She goes, oh, well, don't complain. I says, I'm not. I just don't figure out. I don't know why I'm here. Anyway, I did it at 2:30, and it got to about midnight. Usually side effects start after about 8 hours. Anyway, about 8 hours afterwards, I thought, I've got away with this. Because a lot of the side effects are being reported in younger people. The older people are not getting side effects. For whatever reason, the side effects are coming in younger people, but that's okay.
I don't know whether this is a claim to fame or not.
I went in the middle of something there. Hold on, what are you doing?
Well, you'd finished.
No.
Well, you stopped.
Taking a pause for dramatic effect.
That were a long pause. It was a good 5 seconds, like, as if you were thinking about what to say.
No. I was getting funny looks though, like, he's too young. I woke up last night, it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. I was freezing. Absolutely freezing. But then, I couldn't, Spencer were in bed as well, so I couldn't turn over as I wake him up. So I was shivering in bed. And then, come morning, I was dripping in sweat. And I've been sweating ever since. My stomach is dripping, mate. Honestly. My hands, my feet, I feel loads better. My headache's gone. I've got a bit of a dead arm, mate. But I'm sweating like I've done a 10-mile run. I don't get what's going on. Kev's off. Thanks for your comments, Kev. Nice to see you. Take it easy. Have a good weekend. Try and relax at weekend, pal. McDermott's claim to fame is meeting me and Soph at a social event. That'll do. Take that.
I don't know whether this is a claim to fame or not. And I forgot what we're going to say now. See, you put me off.
Well, it's clearly not a claim to fame then, is it? Otherwise you'd easily remember it. Sam says side effects are good. Means you're having an immune response. My arm feels like Frank Bruno's give me a dead arm. But then again, see, you get that with typhoid as well. Typhoid gives you a bit of a dead arm afterwards. Marky Cox, I got the sweats after the jab, bit of a headache, that's it. I got a headache in the morning, but I don't know if that was because I didn't really sleep that well, because Spencer was in our bed.
I've just remembered.
Go on.
I don't know whether this is a claim to fame, because I don't know whether they're famous enough yet, or whether they ever will be. But they're on the verge. The Sherlocks.
Oh, I remember them. Band.
We did their video
Yes.
at Micrade TV.
I remember.
We filmed it, and I tried getting My Trade TV logo on my car in, and it were famous enough to get on MTV, put it that way, but MTV blanked out the My Trade logo and devastated.
Yeah.
Big blur across it. I'm like, what are you doing? It took me ages to get that. Yeah, people were diving across my car, skidding across my bonnet, just to get my logo in.
Do what have other people's logos on?
Yeah, well, I was devastated. I thought they'd let that slip. And it weren't on Vivo or whatever you call it, even on YouTube. Wouldn't let me have it on that.
Rubbish.
Good.
So yeah, Sam
deliberate branding in the middle of a video of hundreds of thousands of people, and I got cut.
Sam says side effects are good, and Mark got the sweats as well. Yeah, it's right weird. I woke up this morning. I felt like I had, you know the beer sweats, Lee, when you've had too much to drink and you're proper clammy afterwards.
Yeah.
It felt like that, but without all the fun.
So,
beforehand.
talking about jabs, I was reading today that the R rate has increased from 0.6 to 0.9, and they played it down as if it was a minor increase. That's not a minor increase.
They're saying it's a minor increase because it was 0.6 to 0.8, so the upper levels increased by 0.1.
That's not a minor increase. That's close to where we were when we had the last lockdown.
It's like if it stays below 1, it means the continuation of decrease. If it goes above 1, that's when we've got a problem. But
jumping from 0.6 to 0.9, I would say is
that's the range. That's the range.
No.
Yeah, that's the range.
That's not the article I read.
No, it's the range. It's between, because they can never pinpoint it to a single number, so they give a range. So last week the range was 0.6 to 0.8. The range is now 0.6 to 0.9. But I suspect that's because schools have gone back, and I guess this is the big risk. I think this is the
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed?
I know. Well, they went big bang, didn't they? The 10 million kids going back all at one time. Justin Ratcliffe's saying, I'm working currently, voluntarily, with the former Aston Villa, Derby County and Watford winger Nigel Callaghan to help relaunch his career as an international DJ. And after dinner speaker.
DJ. I saw. DJ. I tell you what, I had the pleasure of obviously working in Ibiza, seeing some of the best DJs in the world.
Yes, you will have
done. Some of the worst, because we had a mix. We went some of our stuff were at some of the best clubs, and some of it were at like side clubs. But it was eventful at Ibiza. It was nice to watch that sort of stuff. Some real talent.
That's got to be interesting though, Justin. Helping to relaunch his career as an international DJ. That's got to be interesting, because how do you do that during a pandemic? Because obviously, international travel's not happening. I mean, are you doing a lot of online gigs? I tell you what, I have seen, Lee, and a lot of bands like doing this. Bands have recorded gigs, virtual gigs, where people have paid to view. There's a metal band called August Burns Red. They did a Christmas gig. I'm not saying to listen to it, because you unless you're a metalhead you won't like it, but from a purely curiosity point of view, if you look at the production value they put into that live gig, what they had was, so it was a full stage set. So they'd hired a big studio, a full stage set like you would on tour, and people paid to stream it. And I think they had screens where people could watch, so you could see people watching, and it was absolutely fantastic. And bands have been saying, they do miss the live stuff, but they do actually like doing these high production online gigs, because it gives them access to an audience that wouldn't normally get to see them because they can't afford to go, or they're in another country. So, they've got access now to hundreds of thousands of people where they wouldn't normally get that at a live venue.
Just beat me to it. Mark's just beat me to it. Forget the VR, there's an AR. The company we're working with, Mark, that we've now got ties in, have got an augmented reality app called, and I'm going to give them a plug here, called AIR Show, so Air Show, AIR Show. And what it does, I'm wondering if I can show you this. Hold on.
I'll let you load that up. So Paul's saying 660,000 vaccinated in one day. That's immense. That is fantastic.
This could be an on-air first.
Sorry, go on.
Let's see if it works. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to show you this. Let's see if I can do it.
While Lee's setting that up, John Vanstone played tennis with Greg Rosetsky. I remember Greg. Callum, the R rate is irrelevant, as it's the hospitalisation rate which is more significant.
Can you see that, Jason?
Get close to the screen.
That's actually in my room.
Yes, I can.
Someone playing a gig.
Is that live right now?
Well, it's a pre-recorded gig. It's someone playing the song. Hold on. This is the company that we're working with. They're doing this. Hold on. I've got it in my room, watching it now.
Yeah, I can see his furniture and everything.
This is going to be huge, by the way. There you go.
It's honestly, I know we have to act again, Lee. I know, my man crush Ryan Serhant, but he did make a point today in that video that I watched. There is no going back to normal. There is pre-pandemic and there is post-pandemic, and it's changed a lot of things. And you can see it in the music industry. A lot of bands have embraced the high production value streamed gigs where they play in a studio to a paying audience. And obviously the energy is very different. But I was listening to an interview from, I think it was August Burns Red. And I think they, of all the ones I'd seen, that had sort of the biggest production value. It was a full light show. It was a full studio set. It was as it would be on a tour. And they were saying, look, it's a different kettle of fish to playing in front of a live audience, he said, but he enjoyed doing it because he knew there were people watching. And he said the digital platform gives them access to a much wider audience, because there's restrictions when he goes to, when they play gigs, people can't always afford to go, they're going to other countries.
Well, you look at the capabilities of what I've just showed you there. This company we're working with, by the way, are doing at the moment, TED Talks can't go on. So they're doing virtual TED Talks for them. Right? What I've just showed you there, think of the capabilities of an international superstar wanting to do a concert without the travelling, keeping the cost down, the hiring of venues. They can sell tickets cheaper, so it's better for the concert. All right, you're not going to get that feel of being in a concert. I know some people like the concerts, but there's a lot of people who would pay £20 rather than £120. And if you're charging, this is a made up number, but you're charging £30, £40 rather than £140, you can get millions of people across the globe watching big musicians.
And mate, and look, the thing is as well.
Think of where it'll go though. Wait, I've not finished yet. Think about where it'll go and where it could go. Think about sport.
Yeah. You could
watching a European football game or an American football game.
You stick your VR set on, you could be in there.
You don't even need a VR set. You've got it's AR, augmented reality. You don't need a VR set.
You could though. I mean, because the headsets will develop over time as well.
But you don't need them. They're not needed anymore. They're outdated.
But the music thing is a good demonstration about the access to a huge audience. And look, I've been to gigs. I'll be honest. I couldn't be asked to go to. Festivals, for example. You go to a festival, and more often than not, you're only going there to see a few bands, and the rest you don't like. Well, what if you could go to a festival, and see it all, and tune in and out and see the stuff you want without, you may not be able to afford it, or if you're at work and you haven't got the time. But you could do what you've just demonstrated there, get it up on AR, or do it, if you want a virtual headset on, and have access to it. Pay a fee, and you can experience it. And I think, Lee, for me, I think in music and in other sort of performance events is a hybrid where people can attend, but will also be beamed, not just streamed, but turned into AR and VR. Because Download Festival have done it for years, where they've had a live stream of the event, but it's just a live stream. Whereas what you've just shown there, they could have the bands playing in your room as they are playing on the stage at Download, for example. How cool would that be?
It's. I mean, Mark said it's already happening. It's not well known, but it's the future.
It's a hybrid.
I still keep saying this, and you know my thoughts on this. I was one of the first batch of Google glasses. That will be the future. All right, it'll be a different version completely to what I got, but that will be the future. They'll have them in lenses or glasses where you can actually watch films within your, or it'll be concerts or sport, or that's the way things are going. It's that.
This is what I don't understand, Lee. It's like, we've launched Fenex and stuff, and we've had such a good response, but you get some flippant remarks about Zoom and stuff like that. But everybody knows that everything's changed.
The thing is, the clever people are. If you're a business, and this, I'm not talking about our industry. Our industry is a lot slower to take on tech anyway. Any industry now that's wanting to have a future in business, and I say this about any large industry corporations. If you're not looking at the tech that the kids are using at my kids' ages now, they're the ones that are going to be shaping how things are viewed, how things are bought. I hear people regularly in trades slagging off TikTok. Now, just because we're too old
I was about to say TikTok. TikTok's massive.
If that carries on,
and
that will be the most popular platform to advertise any product on.
It's already bigger than Twitter and I think LinkedIn in terms of
users.
The
thing is, nobody's looking past the consumers that are here and now. That's a problem. The people who invest in the future consumers.
Mate, to bring it back to an industry thing, I see these stupid remarks about I'm all zoomed out, I don't like video calls and stuff. Get used to it, because the generation that's going to replace you when you retire in a few years' time ain't going to give a toss about whatever you think. They've grown up in the digital platform where things like TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, the gaming streaming platform, these are all normal. These are all completely normal ways to communicate and broadcast and interact with each other. So whether you like it or not, these things are coming. And if you do not adapt to these changing platforms, these kids who are 14, 16, 18-year-olds, these are your future customers. And if you are going to be so arrogant as to dismiss that, then you aren't going to be here in a few years' time. Really do. The other thing I would say, Lee, is that we already know people will pay for things like broadcasted, streamed events, because you look at things like Sky Box Office with the boxing, people are very happy to pay 20, 30, 40 quid to watch a broadcasted event, like a fight, for example. Callum's just saying on Facebook here, he would pay £50 for a family to sit at home and enjoy a concert in my own home with the kids. Doesn't beat a real life gig and the ambience, but I always watch Glastonbury on the TV, and that's the point. There's already an audience for this kind of stuff. So, whilst we're talking about the advantages of it, there's already an audience there. And he's absolutely right. Callum, I watch Glastonbury on TV. I already watch it on TV. We already watch Glastonbury on TV. We already watch, I bought, I don't know if you did, Lee, but we bought the fight to Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather on Sky Sports. We bought that. We already know people will pay for it. So we already know that exists. Samantha, it depends what market you're going for. You need to look at the generation and target audience via the platform they use. I agree, but that target audience isn't always going to be there. And this industry is a good example. This industry is in a transition phase right now between a younger generation.
I've just replied to that comment, Jason, and this is my point. And I use McDonald's on a loose value here because McDonald's are the world leaders in doing this. They're priming their future customers at toddler age. Why do you think they have play areas? Why do you think they have McDonald's parties?
They have to grow up in the McDonald's ecosystem. Yeah.
They're priming future custom because they know how to target them, and this is what I'm saying about forward thinking. The people who are forward thinking will be engaging future. If you're a business that plans to be around for 10, 20, 30 years, you've got to be priming and conditioning your customers already.
Matt, going back to what Steve at McDermott said earlier, I mean, he's been a big adopter of new ways of selling, and he's never been busier. He's rightly understood the advantages digital, of remote selling. And he said there, he's not going to go back to the old way of doing things. And, credit to him. He's embracing the new ways of doing stuff. Yes, so target messages correctly for each platform. Yeah, totally agree. But the long game is knowing that is knowing the new platform. I mean, Lee said it before I had a chance to say it. TikTok. That is a huge platform.
But again, this is and again, I've just answered that to Sam. There's different levels. TikTok becomes popular with kids, and now look what's happened over the last 12 months. You've got mums and dads who are jumping all over it.
Do you know? I even saw an advert with Stephen Fry with TikTok.
People underestimate the power that kids have in dragging decision makers into markets like that.
Yep.
The people just don't look deep enough. They do not look deep enough.
This is why it baffles me. I've seen a few, fairly high profile people in our sector going, I'm all zoomed out, I don't like the screens, and you think to yourself, this is, I get it, and you have an agenda, and it suits your agenda to put out comments like that because, it suits your business model. But the future is this. It is already here. It is already happening, whether you like it or not. And the generations coming after us, Lee, are going to grow up in this environment. And let's remember, before the pandemic, this was already a highly digitized world anyway. Zoom calls were happening on a regular basis. Video calls were happening on a regular basis. Social media was a huge part of marketing already. Digitization was already taking place before the pandemic. So to pretend or to think or even to be ignorant to the fact that it's not going to change how we do what we do, you won't be here in a few years' time. It's as simple as that. Mark, the next big revolution is coming at the demise of Google and Microsoft. Wow. How do you take payments off customers? Do you take on your phone or through the bank? It's a good point. So me and Soph have both got we can pay from our phones, with the contactless stuff. And crypto as well, Lee. That's going to be another thing as well. We're moving from a physical currency world to a digital currency world. That will be.
You look at companies like Disney now, and you go into Disney, and they're giving you your own bands where you're buying Disney coins or
look
Disney
at Tesla.
credit.
Tesla's investing in Bitcoin itself. That they are buying Bitcoin. They're not. They know. They know what's coming. John on the Facebook chat, which is committed to stopping door-to-door selling? Are they wrong? No, I agree. Me and Lee won't agree on this, but I think door-to-door selling can do one forever. For me, nothing good comes of it. More often than not.
Yeah, but you don't see the bigger implications of stopping door-to-door selling because you've not worked outside a family business. You stop door-to-door selling. The next level is stopping you ringing customers.
It's different when you're invading their own personal home space. I've seen the negative side effects where my granddad was ripped off.
It's not going to stop.
No, my granddad was ripped off with a mobility chair because he was old and vulnerable. And the long and short of it is door-to-door selling.
I was ripped off from a phone call from someone selling me something.
You what?
I was ripped off from an advert on social media. Where does it stop?
Listen, if you're up to me, I don't like cold calling on phone either.
So how do you generate business then? It's a small business.
I think, we don't cold call at B&P. People come to us.
Okay, so that business dries up, right? How do you get it stoked? So do you advertise?
No.
Rubbish.
We have a website, but
You have social media.
Yeah, we have social media, but we generate leads where customers come to us off their own back.
You're generating leads.
Yes.
You're generating leads.
But I'm not knocking on their door or ringing them.
You're invading the social media lines and you're sending out messages to them.
They're only invading if... Well, no, because they're choosing to follow us. People don't see what we're doing.
More adverts if you're advertising.
We don't advertise on social media.
It's a dangerous, dangerous game, mate.
We don't. Look,
you're taking away the rights of it. The more you take away from people trying to remember, the engine of any business is being able to sell a product. You take away potential efforts to sell products, you're taking away potential business.
The problem I've got is that that benefit is not outweighed by the fact that there are too many companies who take advantage of the vulnerable. That benefit
won't stop.
They'll
just find new ways of taking advantage of the vulnerable.
They may well do, but that benefit does not outweigh that disadvantage.
You'll be very surprised when it starts happening.
Listen, I could have quite easily punched the guy in the face who ripped my granddad off. He was in his last years of his life. He only died a year after that. He was sold a mobility chair he didn't even need. He already had one. He was promised the old one would be taken away. It laid outside his door for weeks, and we had to sort it out in the end because he was lied to. It's not right. They went into this. He lived in not a care home sort of estate as such, but an assisted living estate. And there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no law saying you can't door knock on those places. But I'm sorry, but from experience, working as long in this industry as I have done, that tactic preys on the ones who are vulnerable to it. And that has to stop.
You're never going to stop them people, regardless of stopping that.
But you can legislate to stop it and try your best.
Why stop everyone just because there's some bad apples?
Because the benefit of the people being...
Okay, so let's stop advertising online then. Let's stop sending out brochures.
You can advertise online because then
stop sending brochures because some people lie in brochures.
People view the advert and they're like,
wait. This is something big now, right? There's a lot of brochures that go out now that, let's be honest, are expanding the truth. Do we stop sending brochures out to people just in case?
But you can throw away a brochure because it's a non-invasive tactic.
No, it's not. I don't want stuff coming through my letterbox.
I can put it in recycling bin.
But I don't want it.
Well, neither do I. I didn't want the charity bag that went through my door this morning, but I put it in charity bag.
Stop all that then. Stop all that. Stop online advertising. I don't want to see on my Facebook timeline stuff that I don't want to see.
But it's not high pressure.
Yes, it is. It's on my timeline all day, every day. It is.
Yeah, you can block it. It's not. That's not the same as someone.
Then something else pops up. No,
that's not.
It is the same. It is the same.
It's not. It's nowhere near.
There's crooks in every. There's crooks in every single part of society. Whether it's door knocking, whether it's online marketing, whether it's sending false stuff through your post like you've got an Amazon parcel, ring this number. There's crooks in every part of it. Where do you stop? Do you stop everyone selling?
But if a brochure turns up in your letterbox, you can put it in the recycling bin. That is a very different tactic to.
And if someone turns up on your door, you can shut the door.
But it's still high pressure.
You can shut the door.
Mark's saying use Brave browser. You can block adverts now. You can install an ad blocker as a plugin. It's not, you can do that. You can't stop someone knocking at your door.
You can tell them to go away. You can tell them to go away like you're using an ad blocker.
But for some people who are too polite to do that, it becomes a high tactic.
So for the people who are too polite not to block ads or don't know how to block ads, that's the same difference.
It's not the same.
You're not going to win this argument, mate. There's levels of crookedness at every level of sales and marketing. If you stop one, you've got to stop them all.
There's been some comments on Facebook. Callum's reply to John, which is, I'd say no, I'd rarely buy from a doorstep seller. Callum said, only time I've seen a good door-to-door selling was an ex-con selling my dad a multi-tool screwdriver. My dad bought it from him because he felt sorry for him. Best £10 he spent for years.
By the way, I want to make this clear. I don't like doorstop selling, but to stop it means that you're going down a very dangerous path.
What I would hope, at the moment, doorstop selling is not allowed under COVID rules. I'm hoping it doesn't get reinstated. Because...
Very dangerous path, mate. Very dangerous path you're on.
Callum's saying, with digital or paper marketing, it can be ignored or disposed of. Someone knocking on the door is a different story. It's invasive. That's what I've just said. It's invasive and an awkward situation to put people in on their own doorstep and the safety of their own home. And then Samantha's saying, it's completely different having...
I disagree.
It's completely different having someone knock your door to send you an email or target you with an online ad. It's invasive, and that's the key difference.
I disagree. It depends what your level of invasive is. I don't want the same people who I've told no emailing me constantly, but I still get it. I don't want the same brochures coming through from an insurance company who have let me down.
But that level of distress is not the same.
I've told them, but they still do it. It is the same.
That's not the same level as distress. You can't compare getting repetitive emails.
Well, let me put it this way, right? If someone keeps knocking on my door 2 and 3 times, I can call police and they'll never knock on it again, right? If I tell someone to stop sending me this stuff through the post or via an email, it don't matter how many times I tell them, nobody's going to stop them doing that.
So old people who are too trusting getting ripped off is a justification.
No. You're twisting my words. What I'm saying is there's always bad people in every part of it. Should the laws stop people knocking on old people's doors? Yes, I agree with. But should you stop door selling? No.
How do you know who lives behind the door?
Do your own work.
Know that. You can't possibly know that. This is
so you're not very good salespeople then. You're not very good salespeople.
No, this is my point. Is the negatives of the vulnerable and those who are not aware of the invasive tactics is not justification for the continuation of that.
It's the policing of it, Jason, that's the problem, not the door knockers. It's the policing of it. Police it properly. Hit them with massive fines. If you do something wrong, you get fined.
There's 32 million.
£20,000. You get fined £20,000 if you do something wrong.
You get fined if you get caught, but the chances of getting caught are minuscule. How can you police it? There's 32 million homes. So
this is my point. So what you're saying is we should just forget about policing anything. It's a dangerous slope, mate.
No.
Cancel it because you can't police it. Well, let's cancel everything. What else can't we police?
Callum saying, Callum, online, someone threatening you can ignore. They know nothing about you. Correct. John Vanstone, you cannot always detect a vulnerable consumer. Correct. In real life, knocking on your door, they know your address and can monitor your movements. This is the difference between digital and physical. Is there are ways to ignore and block, whereas
if you know how to block. No, there isn't. There's a lot of people who do not know how to block people. I'm trying to get right. I'll give you an example. I've got a company that. No, listen. I've got a company I'm trying to get to stop emailing me, and they've been emailing me for 4 years.
Right, and that's causing you immense distress.
Yes, it is. It's causing me distress because I don't like them. Right now, that's me. Now, if that is a 90-year-old bloke, same as knocking on the door, and he's getting pestered, how is that any different?
Because you can delete the email every day.
Whoa. No. He keeps opening it, he gets the same message and the same message. I want this off you. I want this off you. Just because it's not a physical in front of your problem doesn't mean it isn't a problem.
No, but when somebody comes onto your doorstep, that's a physical invasion, which is worse.
Right, which you can stop by calling the police.
But the distress has already been caused.
Right, the distress can be caused online as well. How can you stop that?
But the distress is worse.
That's your theory. That's not everybody's theory. So you can stop. If someone keeps knocking on my door, I can phone the police. I'll guarantee you they're not going to do it again. Right?
How do you protect the vulnerable?
How do you protect the vulnerable online?
How would you
stop? Wait. No, because I'm asking you again. How do you protect the vulnerable online?
In what capacity?
In the same capacity.
As
getting pestered.
As door knocking.
Yeah, getting pestered.
You have unsubscribed. That's why we have GDPR rules.
No. I'm talking about people who don't know. Right? You're talking about vulnerable people who don't know how to do it.
You will always have the unscrupulous, but the point.
Okay, so no. You're going off now. So this is a digital and a door knocker. You've got the same problem. People badgering you, and you're vulnerable. So you block door knocking. So do you block that because the vulnerable can't block them because they don't know how?
They can be taught to. But as Mark's saying in the comments...
I can teach people to pick up a phone and phone police.
But as Mark's putting on the comments here, there are things you can use to stop that kind of thing from happening. Blockers.
But there is about people door knocking as well.
Yes. But you can't install an ad blocker on your front door.
No, but you can call police.
Right. And
you can teach people to call police. So you're totally missing the point. Where's the line?
Right.
What do you stop blocking?
The point I'm trying to make is that
stop all advertising. Stop all sales calls.
No. Listen.
I don't get where you're going with it.
There's a percentage of vulnerable people who will always fall for the bad tactics that these door knockers. Hold on.
Do you know there's more online scams than there is door scams?
Is there? Says who?
Go and do some research.
All right. It doesn't mean the other one shouldn't.
So, no, but you're missing the point. You're missing the big point. Where do you stop in blocking sales and marketing? Because if you do that, you're crippling small businesses. The only people who win are big business.
Not necessarily. We do very well out of no advertising. But when the people who get ripped off, like my granddad who bought that mobility chair for far too much money and got messed about, is the ability to sell to people like him justification for the continuation of that practice? No, it's not in my eyes.
So, I'll go back to what I've just said, and I'm going to keep repeating it until you give me an honest answer. The same is happening on a far bigger scale online. So are we stopping all online emails going to anybody? You can't tout for business whether they're a customer or not. What do you do? Where do you stop it?
It's not the same thing. It's just not.
It is.
It's not.
There's a lot more digital crime than there is doorstop crime for sales. So where do you stop?
Well, I'm just hoping that whilst.
What would you say, right? What would you say if a law passed tomorrow that stopped you emailing potential contacts for sales?
We don't do any of that anyway.
No, you're trying to get in touch with, right, one of your customers has said, I've got a lead for you, Jason. One of my friends wants a conservatory, right? But there's a law passed that, same as you can't go and knock on the door.
The difference being with that is that person's that person's already expressed an interest in the product. That's the key difference.
How do you prove that?
Because that person's just said that my mate wants a conservatory.
So you've got to trust that person.
As much as you can trust anybody.
There's blurred lines all the way through this.
There's blurred lines, but I think it's fairly obvious that door-to-door sales do take advantage of the vulnerable. We all.
Mate, I don't know what you've done with your microphone, but it's horrible.
So, what are you doing? All right, I'm back. Source playing with things. John Vanstone saying it's not a criminal offence, so it's not a police matter. Police are too stretched for this, and the vulnerable are often too nervous to complain. And he goes on to say, it's not where do you stop police, it's where do you start.
Which is what I said in the first place. Why ban it? You don't have to ban it. Attack it from a different angle. If you ban sales, you need to ban it online as well, because you've got more crime digitally than you have on doorstop selling.
But it's more. This is a simple fix for doorstop stuff.
It's not.
Stop. It's easy to stop.
Okay, so it's easy to stop.
Look at all the houses with signs on the doors and the windows saying no stop callers, no religious callers, no unauthorised callers. People don't like it because they don't want to be bothered. If they want something, they'll go out and get it a lot of the time.
So all right. Let's wind this back. You're going to stop legitimate people knocking on doors who are trying to make an honest living because hear this out. No, well, you're calling anyone who's ever knocked on a door dishonest, right? I take I take exemption to that because
my dad used to do it and he hated it. He said
whether he hates it or not, it's a different story. That's an opinion. I knocked doors as an insurance salesman, and I was a legitimate salesman who did everything honestly. Do not tar everybody with the same brush just because somebody doesn't like it. What I'm saying is, and this is a very serious concern, you stop door knocking, you make it illegal. Do you think the crooks are going to stop doing it? The real crooks?
Crooks are crooks. They don't listen.
Right, okay, so how does it solve that problem?
Because it might dissuade some.
It might. No, it doesn't. The crooks, you've just said it, the crooks are crooks. They're going to do it, same as the digital crooks are going to do it. You stop the people doing it who are legitimately doing it, it doesn't stop the crooks.
But I don't believe the continuation.
Sorry, I know I'm getting into a big...
I don't believe the continuation of this practice...
I can hardly hear you. It's very, very quiet.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Right. Go on, sorry.
The continuation of this practice is not justification for the high number of vulnerable people who will fall prey to the dodgy people.
That will still do it whether it's illegal or not.
But at least if you legislate for it, you put in a framework to make it...
But you can do that anyway.
So why aren't we doing
it? It's the same difference. Whether you stop it or not, the people who are hell-bent on doing it are going to do it anyway.
Right, Callum's saying, let's look at this from a kid's perspective and bullying perspective. If online you have a choice not to open the message, not to open the app, or to avoid the situation, how do you avoid a knock on the door until it's too late? That's from Callum.
Don't answer it. I'm not saying there isn't problems. What I'm saying is it's the policing of the problems, and this is what me and John have spoke about in many, many times over the last few things. You can't. It's like saying,
look, you're never going to look.
Listen, hear me out now. It's like me saying everybody should be stopped from selling windows because I know there's at least 30 companies that I know of that are crooks, and they're selling dodgy window sales to everybody.
It's not the same as door knocking.
It is.
No, it's not.
It's exactly the same. There's
totally not. It's not even close to being the same.
Do you stop everything?
It's a different part of the sales process. It's not the same thing.
You're totally missing the point. Whether it's door knocking, whether it's online, whether it's selling anything, whether it's fitting anything. If there's a certain amount of crooks, do you just stop doing that?
No.
Do you just stop doing that?
Crooks are crooks, and they exist in every sector and every walk of life.
Yes, they do.
But what people are drawing, and this is from the conversations I've had with people, and there is momentum behind this, and it may well happen. Now door knocking has been banned, and it's been proven that companies can survive without it. There is now momentum behind stopping it altogether.
Dangerous game.
I don't think so.
Game. Stopping legitimate people having a business because there's crooks.
I think if there's
I'll keep going back to my words. Where do you stop?
I think if it's a legitimate business, they won't have any problem in selling to anybody in any manner. I think if it means people like my granddad who fell victim,
not necessarily.
I think if it means people like my granddad who fell victim to door knockers, Right,
okay. So my auntie, she got online scammed. Right.
I think John's regretting bringing this up. He's talking about the Owls now and hoping how he hopes they win.
No, this is an important subject, and everyone knows we don't always agree on everything. My auntie got online scammed for a couple of £100. Right? Am I angry about that? Yes, I am. Can you stop that line of communication where that happened? No, you can't. Or you could, but it's a very dangerous game. Just like that is. Where do you stop? I'll keep saying it. Where do you stop?
But it's easier to stop door knocking.
So you stop legitimate
Because it's
people.
not happening now. It's been proven you can stop it through legislation. Look, angling is a good example. Listen.
Okay, no, I'm going to go back. So why stop it for the bad people?
All right, just for clarification, John's put this, and it's right. Door knocking has not been banned by the Cabinet Office. The wording says should not. It is a moral...
Callum, I think you'll find that part of door knocking banning is going to stop you delivering leaflets, which is another point I'm trying to make. Where does it stop?
See, I'm not bothered about that either because I'll just download...
No, you're not, but you will be because you don't see what's coming. Where does it stop? Tell me where it stops.
I've got an app for me takeaways. I don't need leaflets to tell me what takeaways I've got. I've got an app for it. It's fine. And then it's my choice. Callum, door knocking is banned in many postcodes in Nottingham.
On a very slippery slope.
Yet flyers are frequently received. Flyers give you the choice. A door knocker's goal is to get you to spend there and then, correct? Some say it is banned. Mate, you've got to remember, I go to people's houses where they've had a bad experience with a national company, and this was the example I was going to give. Angling have pivoted away from door-to-door sales because they've had to, because it's the environment that's been created for them. They now get half their sales every week online. It can be done.
One industry.
It can be done if the willpower is there to change to do so.
You're looking at a very polarised version of what... This is what I'm saying to you. You're not looking at a bigger picture. Right? I worked in the insurance game when I was younger. Without door knocking and visiting... And the class door knocking as visiting current clients that are already on policy. Right? Without that insurance company would have folded within 10 minutes. Did people enjoy us going to see them to review what they did and to potentially give them some stuff that were helpful? Yes, they did. Would they still now? Yes, they would. By banning door knocking, because you're polarised on Windows, is a very dangerous view to take. You're looking at your own problems in your own industry. There's a million industries that this affects.
Look, the thing the government's going to look at is this. Door knocking, even though John says it's not technically banned, there's nobody doing it right now. The government's going to look at a lot of industries who have adapted without it and is still doing good amounts of business. There may well be no motivation whatsoever to allow it to come back in.
But that's not the point.
No, I'm just telling you that could be the reality in a few months' time when legislation starts to be rolled back.
A very polarised view. So now back to what I just said.
I don't think this is any justification. Look, at the end of the day, for me, this is my opinion, whether you like it or not, the vulnerable people who will be protected via the banning of this process is better justification, and there are other ways, better ways and more ways to sell your business via than just door knocking. If it means the suffering of vulnerable people who will fall... No, wrong. No, it's not just affect me. My granddad got sold a mobility chair.
People always disagree on this. You're creating a lot of future problems for yourself.
I disagree. Look, sales...
The bigger picture is you're looking at a very polarised view of one industry.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at I'm using my granddad as an example. Who were looking at furniture.
Okay, so let's go to the insurance industry that I've been in. Tell me about that. How it helps that.
I don't know. I've never worked in the insurance industry. I can't tell you about that.
I've just told you what happens. You've got a lot of people who want to see.
I've never bought insurance, by the way, from a door knocker. Never. Ever have I? I mean, I've had no. I don't even know anybody who's been.
Industry.
Who door knocks for insurance now? I don't think anybody knocks for insurance of any kind. I don't think anybody buys insurance from door knocking at all. Nobody I know, but look in the comments. Has anybody had anybody buy insurance from door knockers? Sam, I've never had more reticulum calls, dodgy spam, fraud. Callum, in 2021, I'd never ever buy from a door knocker unless it's cash there and then, cheap product. flyers and digital marketing. I'd remember what I wanted for the future. This is completely domesticated, associated through B2B sales is a little different. Yeah, and I've never ever had a door knocker for insurance. I've had a door knocker for religion. I've had a door knocker for alarm systems. I've had a door knocker for Windows. And that's about it. But the general trend of door knocking has been dying anyway. The trend for door knocking is through its own, through natural processes.
I don't disagree, and I've told you, do I like door knocking? No, I don't. But to ban it is a dangerous path. Where does it stop? Like Sam's just backed up exactly what I've said. There's more digital crime than there is from door knockers.
Yes, because companies have got desperate and they've gone to digital to spam what they can.
It's easy to solve, so where does it stop? We end up stopping all that. It's a slippery slope of taking away rights of people making a living. Just because there's some bad eggs. You need to police the bad eggs, not take away the opportunity.
So what carries greater importance?
It's not about greater importance.
No, I think it does. No, I think this is an important factor. No, I don't. No, I disagree. I think it does.
Okay, so we get to a point where there's that many criminals online. Let's just rip online away.
Because
it's easier to do that.
It's a different sphere.
No, it's the same. No, listen, we're not there yet, but we're going to get to a point where there's that much digital crime where it's more of an hindrance than it is a help, right? So what do? Tear down your rights of using online completely. Where does it stop?
No, but as Callum said in the comments before, it's easy to delete an email or switch a device off.
No. It's getting more complicated than that, Jason. It's getting much more complicated than that.
I'm not saying that.
Right, so it gets to a point where it's very, very technical, and the negatives outweigh the positives. Do we take away online altogether? Where does it stop?
I don't
because it's
see
easier to
how...
do that. What you're saying is we need to shut it down because it's easier, because it outweighs the good outweighs. So do we shut it down because of that?
No, what?
This is where I'm getting to, and you've missed the point up until now. So after that, do we shut online down when it gets to that point?
But again, you have the choice online.
No.
Yes, you do.
Haven't. No, you haven't, because some of it is a lot more technical than having a choice. So, what about hacking, right? So, I'm going to have to
that's completely out of your choice. If you get hacked, that's all totally out of your choice.
Yeah, so it's door knocking. You've just said that, so I'm bringing.
But as Callum said in the comments, it's very difficult to ignore a door knock that keeps knocking on your door because as a human being,
it's very difficult to ignore an hacker or somebody who's technically very.
I disagree with that. It's very easy to ignore a hacker.
No, it's all relevant, and this is what we're trying to get to.
That's not the same.
No, it's not the same. We get to a point.
It's
in
not
5 years' time. Yes, it is. We get to a point in 5 years' time where there's more crooks using digital stuff than there isn't. It's easier.
And the good news is
because your only reason to shut down door knocking is because it's easier to protect them because there's more of it. Right. So do we shut online down because of that? Because it's easier.
Well, there's already tools in place to block that out where you can anyway.
Yeah, but people are getting more technical. There's more online. There's more digital crime than there is real life crime.
Yes, and the good thing is with digital is. And the good thing is with digital is people are adaptable and tools are adaptable.
Whoa. We're talking about real life, right? These are stats. You said for door knocking, we shut it down. I'm writing this down in front of me so I can see this. Door knocking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's more problems than there is good. So we shut it down because the bad outweighs the good, right? When the bad outweighs the good online for digital crime, do we shut it down?
But on digital, the good outweighs the bad.
But when it stops and it gets to the point where it outweighs the good, do we shut it down?
No, the difference is people use digital.
The difference is it doesn't suit that agenda.
No, the positive with digital is people use digital because it's good for them to use. It's simple for them to use. It's quick for them to use. They're doing it by choice.
No, when people get clever at scamming you, like they are with door knockers. So when the good outweighs when the bad outweighs the good, do we shut down online?
If the bad outweighs the good, if online gets that bad, then yeah, shut it down. But with online, people are using digital by choice.
Oh dear!
Look at our business. We've launched Fenex because we know people. There's a huge groundswell of people wanting to use digital by choice because it's better for them.
No, you're totally missing the point.
No,
it's a
I'm not.
very dangerous, slippery slope to take away the rights of people who are doing the right thing because of bad people. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. It doesn't matter what scenario we bring in.
But unfortunately, Lee, the suffering of the people who fall victim to that outweighs the benefit of the people doing the good stuff.
So like I said, there's more digital crime now than there is real life crime. So do we shut digital down now?
But it's different. Digital is an integral part of life. Door knocking isn't.
But there's more crime. There's more problems. Do we shut it down?
But there's more positive uses to digital than there is the crime being done on it.
Is there? Is there?
Well, we wouldn't have our businesses because of it.
All right. There's a lot of people who wouldn't have businesses to this day if it weren't for door knocking. Where do you stop?
Well, you look at Anglian. They don't door knock anymore. They get £1.5 million in sales per week online.
I keep asking you that question. Where do you stop?
Well, I think you put in. I would still say you would ban door knocking because I think the negatives outweigh the positives, and then software plays.
Outweigh the positives again.
And then software plays a part in the digital sphere in trying to filter out the scammers and the spammers.
Software's the police. That's the police. That's the online police. The software's the online police.
Callum saying, take the percentages. How many products are sold on the door versus how many door knockers actually sell? In my life, I've had less than a dozen people knock on my front door. It's just not required. Regardless of your motives, what's the point? If I had started a company, I would never consider door knocking. It would be flyers and digital marketing. I.e. the things that people have a choice on. And that's what Callum's saying.
But we're in a very polarised view. There's a few people here talking.
Well, regardless of what we think, I know from conversations I've had with people who speak with government, there is momentum building behind.
Of course there is. They want to restrict the movement of business to help big companies. This is what I'm trying to get through to you. The more rights you take away from the smaller companies who are trying to get a leg up in life, the harder it is to stop the big multinationals.
Listen, we're a small company.
Taking control.
We're a small company who will do anything like that. And if we continue on this sales path, we'll achieve a record year.
Right, okay. Now, you'll not know this, but unless you know the history, how did your business start before you owned it?
It started as a timber
to get the business up and running.
Well, the previous owner started as a timber joinery business because.
Regardless, but how did they get the sales?
I don't know. I've not looked into.
Well, they had to start off somewhere, so they had to go and they had to go and get them.
Well, they put in newspaper adverts. I know that because I've seen clippings of it.
Yeah, but newspaper adverts weren't. They'll have gone and dropped leaflets and everything.
No, I don't think they did. No.
Pardon my language, bollocks. No. Now you're just trying to.
No, listen. When we bought the business, we got handed over a history box from the original owners who showed us what they did from the. We had pictures and we had copies of whatever marketing they did at the time.
You're saying they never knocked on a door and never delivered a leaflet?
No.
Garbage. Absolute garbage.
So I'm lying.
I think you must be a very unique start of a business.
Listen, I disagree.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're lying, but I think it's bollocks.
I'm not lying.
Right, pure and simple.
I'm not lying. We have
got to, as a new business,
we have run our business.
Don't rely on repeat business, mate. What you're saying is you're an established business that can carry on. If you're a new company, right? There's a new company that wants to start up. They've seen the niche market. They have got to be able to get going. The more rights you take away from a new company trying to get a leg up, because they've got to start getting business, the harder it gets for new business the new business has got to be found from somewhere. The more rights you take away, the harder it is.
This is insane. How many businesses have been started up, not just in our industry, in any industry? How many startups, how many small businesses have exploded through digital marketing such as social media, video?
You're missing the point. And my point is, where do you stop? You stop door knocking. Where do you stop? Where do you stop small businesses getting a leg up?
No,
there's self-employed people, mate, that have to go leaflet dropping. That's door knocking. Like it or not, that's door knocking.
Leaflet dropping is posting a leaflet through a letterbox, not asking for a sale.
Rules. That's under door knocking rules. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Yes, it is. I think you'll find it is.
Well, I've had leaflets through my door that's not supposed to be allowed then.
Yeah, exactly.
By the likes of Domino's.
Yeah.
No, it's not the same thing. So
it's door knocking, mate. That's officially door knocking. It's the same thing. Listen, where do you stop? I'm going to keep asking you the same question. Where do you stop?
I want to know if you
forget window businesses.
No, I know. Yeah, forget any business. Forget any business.
You've got to stop taking away the rights of legitimate businesses. Right. Yes, there's crooks. Stop the crooks. Stop the crooks. Right, John? I don't agree with everything John says. John says, where do you start? I say, where do you stop? There's an in-between. You've got to stop the crooks, not stop the legitimate people, whether it's door knocking, whether it's digital marketing, and whether it's anything else. Stop the crooks. Don't stop legitimate businesses.
Callum's saying is, Callum's saying is leaflet dropping is far less invasive.
Is it? I don't want people coming up and down my drive.
Neither do I, but I feel less invasive.
Door knockers. I'm still looking at what are they doing. Listen, I'm going to keep saying it. Where do you stop? I'm not for door knocking. I'm not. No, you don't though, because then it goes the next step. Oh, this is intrusive. This is intrusive. This is intrusive. Where do you stop? You're stopping legitimate businesses trying to make a living because of people's opinion of what intrusive is. So the next intrusive is I don't like getting adverts on my social media. It's happening now. That is happening now.
There's a button
I
that
don't
you
want
can stop that.
No. This is happening on a big scale now.
But there's a button for that on the advert. You can click to block it.
It's happening on a big scale where they're looking at stopping it because of what Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are doing.
If they want to stop it, they can stop it. Listen, mate. Look.
Marketing. You just don't get.
Look.
Wow.
I will always put...
You're in marketing partly as a business.
Listen.
You just don't get the implications of stopping marketing and sales. You don't understand it.
Listen. People... All right, we'll use DGB as an example, yeah? We'll use DGB as an example. People come to me for advertising. I don't go to people and say, advertise with me. I don't send emails.
Because you're using social media to plough your information out. Stopped. Where does your advertising come from? Because you can't put your information out, nobody knows you're there.
I'm not suggesting to stop that. I'm suggesting to stop door knocking.
No, but what I'm saying is, where does it stop?
At door knocking.
Fuck's sake, honestly.
It stops at door knocking.
Honestly, honest to God, it doesn't though, does it? What's the next level of intrusive to someone else?
But there is a distinct difference between physical door knocking and social media ads.
Right now, stop social media advertising.
They are two very different worlds.
Oh my God.
They are. They are.
You know what? I promise myself I won't get into these arguments tonight.
They are two different worlds with two very different ramifications and two very different responses. Whether you agree with that or not, that's where a lot of people believe. And that is where the momentum comes from. I don't think the government is ever going to allow, because there is a big momentum coming behind the continuation of the stopping, whether legislatively or whether corralled, of door knocking. And look,
I love these sport kind of.
I will always value the protection of those who are vulnerable to those tactics over the tactic itself.
So shut online marketing down because
that's a very different kettle of fish. Nope.
Even more online than they are in person.
That's a different kettle of fish.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. There's more digital crime. There's more digital crime for the vulnerable than there is in person. online.
But it's right.
Shut it down. Shut it down. You're protecting vulnerable. You've just said. Shut it down. Where do we stop?
At door knocking, because you can stop it.
You can stop online marketing.
No,
Stop
you
it.
can't.
Yes, you can. Stop
No, you
it.
can't.
Yes, you can. Stop it. Why? Because it affects people. Same as door knocking affects people.
If you could stop it, you'd stop hackers, you'd stop fraud online, you'd stop it all. But you can't. You can stop a physical activity because you can legislate against it, and you can put in crime and punishment laws to dissuade people from doing it.
Oh, so wait. So we've gone all the way back. You've gone all the way back to what I said.
Sam, I'm not forgetting startups, but I know a lot of startups who have been able to start up without.
You are forgetting startups. You are forgetting startups.
No, I'm not.
Where do we stop? You can't digitally advertise to people because of the vulnerable. I'm
not saying you don't No, I'm just saying you stop at door knocking. That's the line I draw. You stop at door knocking.
How does it stop there? There's more. I'll go back to what I'm saying. You're saying that's a problem. That's just a problem in your polarised sector, right?
No, I'm not. No, you keep saying that, but I'm saying this is rife across sectors.
Right? This is a fact. There is more crime for the vulnerable digitally than there is door knocking. So why are you concentrating on door knocking if you're protecting the vulnerable?
Because the digital platform is the entire planet. I mean, it envelops every aspect of life.
So we're disregarding it because it helps more people.
No,
so
there are already efforts in other areas.
No, listen. So we'll ignore it here.
No, I'm not saying that. There are already efforts. There are already efforts in other places to try and prevent fraud and spam and hackers like that from happening.
Ridiculous.
But you act where you can act.
Ridiculous.
For example, you act where you can act. But for example, with door knocking, it's a physical act, unfortunately, where a lot of people have been taken advantage of. And remember, I go see this every day as well. People have said, I had so-and-so knock at my door. They won't leave my house for 3 hours. I hated it, so I didn't buy windows at all because the entire experience put me off. That tarnishes us guys who don't door knock with the same brush.
Right, okay.
Is that fair?
Digital crime tarnish the people who are doing digital marketing, right? Where do we stop? I keep saying this thing. Where do you stop?
It's not the same thing. Samantha, so how would you get my nan who needs Windows but doesn't have a clue about digital? Sam, people have friends and family. I've dealt with loads of people during this lockdown in fact, I spoke with a customer. I saw the granddaughter who dealt with the grandma. Grandma didn't have a clue what was going on, but I dealt with the granddaughter and she signed up and she bought.
Ban referral calls.
But that's been done by choice. That's by choice. Referrals are choice.
Rip people off by going on referral calls.
Callum's saying it. Let's look at this as an example. I've approached a business as a rep, pulled up at one address and it's someone's dwelling. Pulled up another, it was a showroom. I only visited one physically, guess which? The other was digital. What Callum's saying there is, if I've got that right, the person will have gone up physically, it will have been someone's home. If it was B2B, it will have been digital. And what Callum's saying there is it is well known that if it's B2C, that it's a door knocking tactic. If it's B2B, it's a digital tactic. What Callum's trying to say.
There's loads of consumer scams online.
No, he's talking within our sector.
Yeah, but I'm not. You're polarising everything.
No, I'm not. I'm referring to Callum's comment.
The window industry.
I'm referring to Callum's comment on this one.
It's so polarised. Your view is so polarised. The implications of stopping any sales or marketing techniques are much bigger than what you're looking at.
Justin saying, how about a quick industry poll on DGB site? Sam, as an experiment, I rang several window companies a few years back. I couldn't get one of them to come and see me unless my husband or father was there with me. You see, that for me is a complete extra issue we've got to deal with, and that stems from a lot of the larger companies. And we get this with customers ringing us saying, does my partner have to be there? And that's because they've had other companies ringing saying, is your husband going to be there? Are you both going to be there? Because other companies assume that if you're both going to be there, you'll make a decision on the night, and that's wrong.
Jason, I'm going to give you a break from your earache. I'm just going to have a toilet visit for a minute.
Well, mate, it's 25 past. It's 25 past 10, and I'm off to bed because I'm shattered. I didn't sleep right well last night because Spencer were in bed with us, so I didn't really move that well. But do you know what, Justin? I'm running. Do you know what? I will do a poll. But I do think
because it's in this industry.
Well,
and they don't want new businesses starting up. And where do new businesses have to grab?
Who doesn't want new businesses starting up?
You don't want no new businesses touting on your territory as an existing business.
Whether I want it or not, they've got the right to do so, and I won't stop them doing that.
They won't have the right to do so if you take it away from them.
That's wrong. No, I disagree. No, I disagree with that. I think there's plenty of legitimate ways other than door knocking to start a business.
As a new business? Go back to when you were a new business. Go back. It's very, very hard.
I don't know. I weren't born.
Exactly. You weren't born, which is why I asked you what they did.
But I already know the history of the company because they recorded it.
They were delivering leaflets and they were knocking on doors. Nailed on. But no matter what you said.
So I'm lying.
I'm telling you, you don't know the truth.
So I'm being lied to.
Yes.
That's a big accusation. If you can prove it, by all means.
Or you're telling me stuff just to suit your story.
No, I have a box. My dad's got a box in his house with the entire history from day one.
Rubbish.
So I'm being lied to.
Rubbish. A window company back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, how did they get business? Just from going in a news pub? Listen, mate, you can pull the wool over people's eyes as much as anyone. You'll not pull the wool over my eyes. Never in a million years. Absolute garbage.
Ladies and gents, I'm being lied to.
Absolute garbage.
I'm being lied to.
You weren't born, but you know. Mate, come on. This is a talk sport style debate now. This is absolutely ridiculous to say. So they built the foundations by just putting newspaper adverts.
They based their entire business on being unlike everybody else.
Yeah, okay. All right. Not a door or a leaflet was knocked.
Never door knocked. Never cold called. Never went on the phones. Never got on the phones ringing round. Never.
All right. If you like.
So there we go.
If you like.
Well, there we go. Lee's off to the loo. I'm off to bed. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thank you to Rhys again at the beginning for joining us at that point. Take a look at On-Site 7 if you're an installer, because that is critically important software that's going to help you smooth and streamline your internal works. We're using it at work because it makes sense, and when you see the demo and you'll see how easy it is to use, you will use it. And if you're in the solid roof business or you wanted to look into the solid roof business, take a look at Lecker. They've got industry leading U values, which is a huge selling point on its own. And remember that they're going to be at Fenex in September, where you're going to be able to see all of this anyway.
I don't know whether Northumberland Glass is still on, but we'll put them in touch.
Abigail needs to have a chat with Greece.
Anyone who wants to get involved in 1 to 11, by the way, drop us a message.
Yes, everyone's welcome.
Football 1 to 11. Anyone want to have a go?
Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. And I think the first 1 to 11 will be out next week.
Tuesday, hopefully.
Tuesday. There we go.
I hope it's Tuesday. Do you know what? I've enjoyed having a bit of a battle with you tonight. Well, it's been nice proving you wrong.
Nothing's been proved or disproved.
It's been nice talking to Rhys. Rhys was a great guest.
Yes, Rhys is always welcome back. Rhys is always welcome back.
And I think we've got a few more guests coming up, haven't we? So,
yes.
And we'll leave you with a joke on a bit more light-hearted note. How do you get a tissue to dance? Put a little bogey on it.
Oh dear. Oh dear. And with that note, we will leave it there.
There you go. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Take care.
Hope you've enjoyed the debate.